The tape. The tape. Let's grind. The tape. We do a little bit different around here.
We ain't gonna play. We ain't gonna play. Shut up and grind the tape.
The tape. Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play. We ain't gonna play. Them dogs in your face.
Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play. We ain't gonna play. Shut up and grind the tape.
The tape. Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play. We ain't gonna play. Them dogs in your face. Shut up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape,
Let's
bro.
grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the
The
tape.
tape. The tape. Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape,
The
bro.
tape.
Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The tape. The tape.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro.
The tape.
UGA game day, boy, we ball out. Pull up, put the whole conference in the doghouse. Leave them 6 feet, see me on the win streak. All-star status, go coach in the bench deep. Offense on 10, how we run it? Your best ain't nothing, we gon' send them boys punting. Black and red, got them dead on arrival. Defense hunkered down for the tie. Hey, you don't want it with the dogs. Film guy on it, you don't want it with my dog. Break it down, play by play, that's the day-to-day. They know we ain't come to play, boy, it's UGA. Kirby Smart, I cannot play the fool. Back to back, we did not come to lose. Back to back, like we got something to prove. Pay your dues, dog nation on the move. What's up?
We do a little bit different around here.
We ain't gonna play, we ain't gonna play. Shut up and grind the tape.
The tape. The tape.
We ain't gonna play, we ain't gonna play. Them dogs in your face.
Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play, we ain't gonna play. Shut up and grind the tape.
Shut up. Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play, we ain't gonna play. Them dogs in your face. Shut up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The tape. The
Shut
tape.
up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape,
The
bro.
tape.
Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The tape.
Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro.
Shut up. The tape.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to MBR, or as we like to call it around here, Nothing But Rants, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. What's up? You really like that?
Let's shut up and grind some tape.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome in to the Film Guide Network on a fabulous Wednesday evening. It's an absolutely slam-packed, slam-loaded football show for you guys tonight. We got Wednesdays upon us, so it is What If Wednesday. We're going to circle back on best bets. I am absolutely losing my backside this year on best bets. And that's probably good for you guys. It's Fade Brooksy season on best bets. We're going to get to it tonight. Who's on upset alert? We might circle to it just to slam pack. Might not get to it. Is Arch going to snap out of it? We'll talk about it a little bit tonight as well, and much, much more. Make sure you're liking the video, subscribing to the channel if you've not already done so. Almost to 69,000, boys. How about that?
Nice.
Nice. Agreed. Hey, some news today, boys. We'll start here. Which quarterback news do you want? Do you want a quarterback starting decision made, or do you want a Heisman caliber quarterback maybe being able to play this weekend? Which news do you want?
Let's build to the Heisman one.
Let's build
get
to the
started.
meaningful storyline for most of the people watching today. If you don't know today, Caden Salter is going back to the starting quarterback position out there at Colorado. The Buffaloes are sitting. What was Staub's first name? Ryan Staub, I believe
so.
was his name. They're going to sit Staub and go back to Caden Salter. The reason I wanted to talk about this, boys, is because there's a top 100 player that I think we can just go ahead and confirm is hitting the portal.
Mm-hmm.
I think
it certainly looks that way.
I think it's fair at this point to look at what's going on at Colorado and think one of two things, and I hope it's the latter. One, Julian Lewis is not very good. That's why they're not playing him. Two, he's already selectively redshirted and hitting the portal. Which one are you guys more likely to be on the side of here?
I mean, it could be both, honestly.
Could be a little bit of both. I just hope this isn't a Malachi Singleton or Malachi Nelson situation, where we have this 5-star. He goes and spends 6 months at USC, and Lincoln Riley's like, oops. And then he goes to Boise State, and Boise State's like, no, I'm good. And then he goes to UTEP. I don't think that's going to be the situation here. But if you're an SEC program like Kentucky or Missouri, or name one of these that's going to be in the hunt for a starting quarterback next year, you've probably already got tabs on what's going on right now with Julian Lewis.
You laugh about Clemson. That should be the team that's contacting him, in my opinion. Like, I know Dabo doesn't do the portal, but boy, oh boy, should you make exceptions sometimes. It certainly wouldn't hurt if Julian Lewis is available for you to add him to your quarterback room. Just saying.
Here was my thought process on this decision from the jump. They thought he was going to go out there and play immediately. It's the only reason he was there. If I were in Julian's camp, I would have been very realistic and said, all right, look, here's the deal. We're 6 foot. We're 190 pounds. We've played a lot of football, but it's not like we're Cam Newton. We need good people around us. We need to be highlighted in our accuracy in our decision-making. And we ain't highlighting accuracy and decision-making when we're on our back. You know what I mean? Or on the bench. So from that standpoint, it was a relatively questionable decision to end up there in the first place.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the Colorado and Prime and the Shedeur Sanders hype are all around that, and probably some monetary compensation had a lot to do with him going there, and with the fact that you can go to a school nowadays and end up as, hey, this doesn't work out for me, I need to hit the portal and go elsewhere. So,
and Chad's asking whether or not Clemson even likes Christopher Vezina. I don't know if they know. How can they? You know what I mean? Like, Vezina's going to be a year 4 football player next year, and have what? How many career attempts does Christopher Vezina have right now? And how many games they going to get up into situations where he can actually get some burn and get some playing time? Matter of fact, the last time I evaluated Clemson's quarterback situation behind Cade Klubnik, I thought the walk-on from South Carolina was a little bit better.
He has 34 career attempts, all of which came last season.
34 career attempts, all of which came last season in mop-up duty. So we'll see what Vezina ultimately looks like next year. I would assume they're going to roll with him, but this is a talented, really, really high-floor football player, in my opinion, in Julian Lewis, that is now officially, I'm not going to say it, but he's officially up for grabs, I would imagine. This is obvious signs of, you ain't playing me even if you want to now.
Yeah, it might seem that way, definitely.
They're 13.5-point favorites at home this weekend against Wyoming. I don't know if they're handling business at the rate the young kid can get in anyways, but it's just very, very peculiar what's going on out there. I would assume he's grabbing a red shirt and hitting the transfer portal. I sent a couple text messages out to sources all across the country that are relatively tied into that, and didn't get many comments back, but I do think it's a potential portal injury. Now, there's another quarterback that obviously has very, very large name brand value, and it's Lenore Sellers. And he went out last week with a concussion. Reports are, and I'm sure we're about to get the SEC injury report in the next 3 or 4 minutes at any moment now, speaking about this. But Lenore Sellers is reportedly back at practice and has a chance to play this week. Thoughts on this? 6 days back from a concussion, basically going to roll out there and potentially play this weekend against Missouri.
From a South Carolina standpoint, judging by what that schedule is left and the fact that you just lost to Vanderbilt, you kind of need him to. From a Lenora Sellers standpoint of what's the best for my career and my health moving forward, you do not need to play in this game.
Look, I looked it up today because when I was playing 10 years ago and how they handle these things now is totally different. Hell, almost 12 years ago. So when we got concussions, there was a return to protocol, right? It's called a RTS, return to sport protocol that you have to go through. I looked it up today. Apparently there still is. There's a 6-step return to protocol that is required, or I should say preferenced with the words every step should be 24 hours. It's in there in italics under the NCAA bylaws that says, hey, if you get a concussion, you got to go through these 6 steps. And we recommend that you take at least 24 hours to check off each one of those singular steps. Step 5 is return to practice, unabated. Step 6 is to return to competition, unabated. So he would be absolutely pushing up on the threshold of this ultimate medical limit. And you mentioned it, man. Like, there's a difference between we're in a chance for a national title run, and I got to go out here for my teammates, and I'm tough and all that good stuff. And this ain't like pulling a hamstring. This ain't like breaking an arm. This is your brain, okay? Mm-hmm. And we know that because of the last 10, 15 years of the sport and the medical data behind concussions, we know that when you get one of these things, you're more than likely able to get another one, and they become easier and easier and easier for you to get. I don't want to say the name of the quarterback that we all think about and associate with brain trauma. That being said, it's hindering that guy's career right about now. This guy's much more physically daunting, Lenoris is. He's 6'3", he's 245 pounds. But ain't no muscle tissue around that brainstem. You know what I mean? So we got to be very, very careful with this type of decision making with regards to quarterbacks and their concussions.
Yeah, I understand like what Christian was mentioning of like the urgency it is for him to play for them right now, because I said last week going into the Vanderbilt matchup of this is a can't lose game for you, South Carolina, if you want to continue to have your college football playoff hopes intact. Now, after that game, things have gotten really hairy over there. Like the offense is not gelling very well. There's just a lot of issues going on over there, and certainly the offensive line, which is another point in this of we aren't very secure in this offense right now. Like this wasn't Lenoris got knocked out because he was running the football like he usually does. This was we had a free hitter come off the edge and smacked us right in the face. So not to say that this is on the offensive line, but you're talking about the odds of this happening again. That offensive line hasn't shown me much for me to be like itching to get back in before we know for sure, for a fact, that we are 100% clear to go and ready to go.
I mean, it looked like a pretty benign hit. It wasn't like he was, but also another thing, and I don't know if this is just optics or this or whatever, but Shane Beamer made everyone know that was a big hit last week.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Shane Beamer made everyone aware that the SEC office needs to take a look at that. Shane Beamer made everybody aware that his quarterback was knocked out laying on the ground in the middle of the field. And now, 6 days later, we're trying to get him into a competition so we can beat Missouri, who we're 10.5-point dogs to on the road. I don't know if the optics around this even look like, I don't have all the information. I'm not his medical doctor, but we're 5 days out from you telling me that your quarterback's knocked out on the field and you're complaining about it. And now we're trying to rush him back is what it feels like to me. It's just very, very weird.
He is listed as questionable on the report, by the way.
Questionable. I don't think he plays. I think so. This was we give Missouri an opportunity to prepare for him. We give him another thing. We're going to roll out with Luke Doty and protect our quarterback. And by the way, I was telling the boys before the show, I believe Shane Beamer to be I care about my players football coach. I don't think Shane Beamer is insecure in his own right and thinks that he's got to go out and must win this football game. I think he protects his football players. I think he makes the right decision here.
I hope he does for the sake of Lenoris Sellers, because if not, we've talked about the alternative and it's not pretty. So,
and again, like we don't know the severity, but concussion. Period. We know the severity of that, and I think personally, knowing what we know about head trauma, if you're knocked out on the field on Saturday, you probably shouldn't be playing the next Saturday. That's just my opinion, and you can call me soft, and you can say whatever, but it's brain injuries. We don't need to be playing around with brain injuries. Speaking of playing around, a great place to play this year with regards to fantasy props and plays is our friends over at Sleeper. Shout out to our friends at Sleeper, the #1 place for daily fantasy and prop plays. Sleeper is a fantasy sports plus real money gaming app focused on bringing people together through sports and gaming. Sleeper has become the fastest organically growing fantasy platform in the world, while earning some of the highest levels of engagement per user in the industry. At Sleeper, it's not just about sports, it's about building personal connections and lasting memories. Use promo code Brooks today and you'll get up to 100% deposit match over there. Again, that's promo code Brooks, up to $100. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 50 states. Again, that promo code is Brooks. Tomorrow, we'll be bringing you plays here on the National Hour. All right, get in on a little action over there with our friends over at Sleeper. I haven't had such a good run at it. You had any luck on Sleeper this year so far?
I've had one hit, but other than that,
like 1 for 3 is not bad though.
I mean, you're making money at that.
I mean, that's a good way to be right there. What about you, Jay? Will you having any luck over on Sleeper this year?
A little bit. It's kind of going like my bets over here on the board of like it's very hit or miss for me right now.
That's all right. That's all right. Hey, you just got to see one go down.
Yeah,
just got to get hot. That's all. Just got to get hot. Shout out to those friends over at Sleeper. Boys, I did a film study today.
Ooh.
I did a film study on a very, Eric Singleton, who I kept calling Nick Singleton today. Listen, is questionable on the injury report for this football game that we're going to talk about. I watched Auburn's offense and went over and flipped over and watched Oklahoma's defense today as well, and I've got some notes for you. I'm here to tell you right now, if you're an Auburn football fan or if you're a fan of a football team that plays Auburn this year and you watched them play against Baylor and you thought, oh, surely they're not going to run this guy 18 times a day. Oh, yeah, they are. Yes, they are. Jackson Arnold's going to be toting the rock this year for Auburn. And I noticed it was like not a fluke thing, not a we're just trying to win this football game, not a this is what they're allowing us to do type of plan. When I saw, and it's going to sound weird, when I saw him without his pads on at post-game press conference, when I saw the amount of mass that this dude's put on in his midsection, his biceps, and his quads, I knew immediately they told this kid, you better get ready because you go tote the rock this year for us, and you can see it on film, okay? Their entire run game is built off of jet quarterback counter, jet quarterback power. And if you don't learn how to stop it, they're going to keep throwing it at you. So you better get prepared for that. Ironically enough, we saw that Temple film, watching Temple versus Oklahoma's defense. They got a good little dry run of this Auburn offense from an RPO standpoint. Saw a lot of the same looks that they're probably going to get this weekend from this Auburn unit. This dude is running. All right, he is running. It is their base offense. And I think the offensive line, Hughes sold it as like his best offensive line ever, and that may be true. I'm not as like high on these tackles as I am the interior of this offensive line. I think guard to guard, they're really, really good. I really like Connor Lew. I like 77 that we saw today on film as well. They play really good together. That being said, I do think their edges are fairly gettable. I think their tackles are fairly gettable, but they don't do a ton of traditional drop back pass game anyway, so you're not really going to get home and sack these guys a lot because it's just not what they do unless it's 3rd and 9, unless it's 3rd and 12, unless it's 2nd and 20. You're just not going to get very much traditional drop back from these guys. They want to be in that RPO system. Now, the only non-college aspect of their offense, in my opinion, is Cam Coleman. They allow him to do traditional stuff. They allow him to get into 3-by-1 and say, we have a true X over there. Good luck stopping him. And they force you to do that. All right. They're going to throw the ball to 8 on Saturday. You better be well equipped to stop it. All right. And you better be well equipped to deny the ball because they're going to put it up in the air towards him. He's one of the best go get it 50-50 ball guys in all of college football, and he's playing really good ball right about now, despite the fact that his routes aren't necessarily clean, okay? I was watching that South Alabama tape. I don't know if the field's just bad at Auburn, which I don't think is to be the case, but Cam Coleman's like slipping and falling on routes, like trying to get in and out of breaks and just not keeping his feet. I'm not worried about the verticality of his game right now. I do worry about whether or not he can stop, but that's a Sunday thing. Right now, it's can you run past that corner and catch a deep ball? He's great at that right about now. And he's really dangerous after the catch. Really dangerous and hard to get down on the ground, as is Eric Singleton, who we just found out is a little bit questionable. You saw it today. The RPOs are still a problem. The RPOs are still trickable. The RPOs are still gettable. Now, here's what's getting them out of this, right? Where last year, Peyton Thorne pulls the football, the linebacker gives him a pull read, and then drops underneath the slant, and then we throw an interception right into the guy's face. The difference this year, I don't think Peyton Thorne was made to be a runner. I don't think Peyton Thorne wanted to be a runner. He had to run in this system, but he didn't want to. It's not an inclination of his. It is of Jackson Arnold's, okay? So I think they are going to eliminate some of these turnovers. We saw it right there on tape today where Jackson Arnold pulls the football. The defense lies to him. There is a defender sitting right in the slant window on the RPO, and he sees it and just takes off running and picks up 4 yards. That is a massive difference between what they were doing last year and years prior and what they're doing now. All right, if he can do that 60% of the times they get lied to, he just cut down the turnovers by 2/3 immediately, just like that. And that's a drastic difference between where they were this year and where they were last year. It just still really, really confuses me, boys, when I watch a guy like Hugh be so dependent upon the RPO. When I study a lot of football, and I think he's a good play caller. I think he's a good play designer. Dude, that Tampa 2 beater he drew up today, I mean, elite. Like, he's a really, really good play caller. Yet he gimmicks his way down the field, and that's just it's weird to me because I think he's gifted, and then he puts it all on the RPO to actually move football, and then we turn ball over because we RPO our way down. It's just very, very weird to me. I believe in him as a play caller. It's almost as if he doesn't. All right, the other thing that really scares me about this Have you seen a coach talk more to his quarterback on comms than what we saw today on film?
I've never really paid attention to it, but I would say no.
Here's how you know the answer is no, because I notice a lot of those things. That one stuck out to me like a sore thumb. Guys, if you haven't watched the film study, you will see Hugh Freeze on the sideline with his Waffle House card, hitting that switcher on his belt loop, talking to Jackson Arnold for a good 15, 20 seconds every single play. And that's fine when we're at home against South Alabama. In fact, that might be okay when we're on the road at Baylor, especially when we get up with a lead. I don't know if that's going to be okay on the road in the SEC. And it's why, guys, we see all of these check with me offenses struggle so much on the road, because they can't get all these checks in. It's just too damn loud.
Mm-hmm. The only confliction I have with this game is Auburn had success throwing the ball against Oklahoma last year, but it was the turnovers that were the crux for them, because Peyton Thorne threw for over 300 yards last year against Oklahoma. Now, this was at home, so that certainly plays into this as well, but they had success moving the ball against Oklahoma, so really it does boil down to the fact of, is Jackson Arnold going to run into some of these turnovers that they did last year against his football team? Again, this being the road environment, maybe changing some things for this offense, I think he certainly could, but it does kind of conflict me a little bit.
I think Jackson Arnold's got a ton of arm talent. That's why he was rated what he was. Plays a little bit late and behind schedule sometimes on some of these traditional routes, traditional concepts. Hey, 3 steps, 1 hitch. We got an out route over here. If we take 2 hitches, we might get it picked off. If we take 2 hitches, it might get broken up. Got away with it against South Al. Probably not going to get away with it against Oklahoma. So those types of things we're seeing on tape as well. But hey, that might be continuity. Like, Bubba, it's my 3rd game in this damn system. Will you allow me to get comfortable? Yeah. I'll give you an opportunity to get comfortable, because Lord knows you're talented enough with the ball in your hands. I do see a critical where I think they are deficient offensively with their roster makeup. I don't think these tight ends are good enough to be playing them as often as he is. I don't think these tight ends are good enough to be going to them as often as he is. Okay, so that's a question for me on their roster. Maybe they can hide them throughout this football game and depend on everybody else, because everybody else is damn good enough, right? Eric Singleton's damn good. Cam Coleman's damn good. I like number 3. I forget his name. The other sophomore that they have on the roster. Hell, 6 stacked somebody on tape today as well. They got really, really good weapons. I just wonder how much they're going to be lied to and fooled by Brett Venables pre-snap, because that is the number one thing I see every time I watch Oklahoma is you have no idea what they're doing until post-snap. And when you're a check with me RPO offense, that's dangerous, because they're lying to you until the ball is snapped, and then everything changes. That's difficult to deal with. I think Oklahoma can avoid some busts defensively, but they have, if Oklahoma can avoid busts defensively, every year I feel like Oklahoma turns a performance on defensively where I'm like, damn, that might be the best defense in the sport. I feel like that's the way I look at them. But there are games where they stack alignment, they bust assignments, and then boom, 60-yard, 70-yard explosive on them. That happens to them in SEC play. We'll see if they can avoid it this weekend. I think bottom line, I see Venables tricking Hugh too many times in this football game, and that's what it boils down to me.
Well, I think another factor that's getting kind of overlooked here, and it might not be as meaningful as I'm about to say it is, but Brett Venables probably knows Jackson Arnold just as well as Hugh Freeze does. Knows his tendencies, knows what he likes to do, knows what he's not very good at.
That's the thing. When you're a defensive coordinator, if you know anything, it's the deficiencies.
Right.
And then you attack those.
Mm-hmm. So I think that's probably going to be what ultimately plays in the advantage of Oklahoma here. And on top of all that, Hugh Freeze's offense, while there are mitigations from Jackson Arnold being able to run the football, it's still a turnover-prone offense.
I really, really dislike the leniency on the RPOs. That being said, when you have a quarterback that's competing with his legs like this, it alleviates some of that risk.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
It's just totally different than a year ago. What are y'all's keys to this matchup? I know we went through this yesterday, but do y'all have any additional thoughts on this Oklahoma-Auburn matchup, specifically you, Jonathan, now that you've seen the film?
I think that Oklahoma has to continue with I thought the offensive line played good enough against Michigan, and that was coming off of some performances where it looked shaky, but we also found out that they were down some starters in those football games. So I think they picked that up, and again, last year it was the lack of weapons at wide receiver, but it was also the fact that Jackson Arnold was not protected in that offense last year. I think John Mateer's mobility has certainly helped out with that and the craziness that he's able to throw the football at. But I think it's that. I think it's the explosiveness that Oklahoma is going to have to create against this Auburn defense. And then for Auburn, it does boil, like as simple as it sounds and as basic of analysis as it sounds, it really does boil down to turnovers in this offense, because typically when you turn the ball over in this offense, it isn't just like a minor thing. It could go for 6 almost just about every time because it's someone jumping a route. Yeah. It's things like that. So you really have to avoid those. And I'd say you really have to avoid them early on in this football game.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. The turnovers are, like you said, it is kind of a cliche take to make. Of course, no duh, turnovers are always one of the main components of a game. But when you have an Auburn offense like this that lives and dies off of whether or not it can just march the ball down the field, hit explosives, or other than that, we're turning the ball over and we're giving them plus field. John Mateer is not the guy you want to do that with. This environment's not necessarily where you want to do that. I think it was a pick 6 last year that ultimately doomed Auburn in this game. I think it's going to be similar stuff like that to where it's early on. If you make a mistake early, they're going to jump on you and take advantage of that.
How would you even defend this Oklahoma offense? Would you commit yourselves to stopping quarterback run and just leave yourself vulnerable to explosives in the back end and just hope he doesn't hit them? Or would you make this team go 10 plays on you?
I mean, you can switch up the approaches.
Just give him both.
Different times.
Yeah.
I think that at some point you're going to have to realize, okay, he's on today. He's hitting his deep shots. He's accurate, or he's a little rattled. The moment might be a little big because we've seen John Mateer not be accurate, be inconsistent, make very poor decisions. So it just kind of depends on who you're going to get that game.
Ironically enough, I'd turn on that Montana film.
Yeah.
Yeah. See what Montana gave him out there at Wazoo.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I think, too, like with Auburn, as much as they've ran Jackson Arnold, they've ran him 34 times, I believe it is, this season. I don't know if you're going to be able to do that against Oklahoma. I don't know how they're going to play it. I don't know if they're going to be okay surviving like that. Like if Oklahoma's like, yeah, you can run, but we're waiting on you to throw the ball. Like that's what we're wanting you to do today. But we got to protect ourselves in this one because what we've played the first 3 weeks, and maybe excluding Baylor a little bit, but I mean, he ran all over Baylor.
Look, this ain't no I'm avoiding contact guy either. Bro, he's playing football like Haynes King right now.
Oh, I know he is.
You saw it. There's a 3rd and 4 against South Al. He's like 4 yards past the sticks and just like, okay, safety, come get something. And it's like, hey, probably could have slid there. Like we're well beyond the sticks. Probably should have slid there. Nope. He's out here competing, man.
He is.
And I honestly think it was I can almost guarantee it was a concerted conversation, a concerted effort to, you are going to run the football this year and you're going to run it tough or we're going to play somebody else. Because I'm telling you, the body's totally different than what it was last year, in my opinion. All right, let's move on to these other football games. We got keys to the matchup. I got the keys. Texas Tech at Utah. Boys, it's a noon kick, big noon kick. We're going to see the homie Joe Klatt and Maserati Mark calling this one. So that'll be cool. What's his name?
Gus Johnson?
Yeah, Gus. Just kidding. I know Gus's name. I'm just playing around. Big time football game. For me, here is the key. Which team actually responds? All right, these two teams have played very eerily similar schedules. 2 tomato cans and some of the worst Power 4 football going on right now. That's their first 3 football games, and they have absolutely dominated all of them, except for both of them. There's another one here later. Indiana struggled with Old Dominion, but they played 3 tomato cans. They've played not good competition, and they have not been in any type of fight at all. So the moment one of these teams is down, do they respond at all? I know that sounds very simplistic in nature, but if you don't know how you're going to respond in a fight, it's the number one question going into a ball game.
Yeah, I think another one that you can kind of tie into that is which team can physically impose their will. We've looked at Utah before and kind of talked about how, hey, they might be one of the most physical teams in the Big 12. All of that. Texas Tech has made a ton of investments. They might be coming later, but they've had some this season to be a more physical football team, to make a push at that college football playoff. So I'm going to be very interested in seeing which team can be physically imposing enough to march their way down the field, force mistakes, things like that.
Speaking of marching down the field, I think that's a question that I have about Texas Tech coming into this matchup because they've been very explosive and they might be very explosive against Utah, but kind of knowing how Utah typically is on defense. That's not what they allow. They make you march it down the football field, and most of Texas Tech's scoring drives have been a 30-yard run or a 60-yard pass or a 50-yard, like things like that. It's been very explosive plays, like seven play drives, 5 play drives, things of that matter. Can you switch gears and be equally efficient on offense? And on the flip side, Utah, if you have to get into a shootout with a team like Texas Tech, like if they're still just being super explosive, can you switch gears? They have been able to so far this season. They have been very explosive on offense, but it's a matter of like, this is the first big test for both of these football teams. Are you able to replicate what you've done in the first 3 games going into this matchup?
Yeah, against reasonable competition, 30-yard runs become 12-yard runs, right? You're not beating every safety you run up against when you actually play real competition. So it should be interesting. We good on that one?
Yep.
I don't even know who to pick there. I haven't had to yet, I don't believe, but I don't know who I'm going with. Maybe the Utes. I think last night I went with Utah just because of Kyle Whittingham's home record. He's won 80% of games at home since being at Utah. Tough place to play. Florida will tell you that. Tulane at Ole Miss. Sneaky good football game, in my opinion. Guys, I'm like borderline, not worried, but just like concerned about this matchup for Ole Miss. This Tulane football team is just patchworking itself together still, right? They lost a ton of starters, including their quarterback, and got their starting quarterback in the middle of the summer, right? Jake Retzlaff transferred down there after getting dismissed from the BYU roster, and now he's their starting quarterback. And what did they do 2 weeks ago? I believe they went on the road to South Alabama, and they're down 14 points in the first quarter. Just like that. All right, what do? They crawl back in that football game and they win. They go on the road the very next week to Duke, and they jump on them like nobody's business. They're up 17-0 like that. All right, so I see a Tulane football team that might be trending upwards and actually finally learning how to play together. That could be dangerous. Also, when you prepare for this football team from Tulane, you're preparing for more of a diverse offense than probably anybody else in college football. You're going to see everything from 13 personnel to 10 personnel to wide choice spread down into the wishbone. Like, you're going to see it all from Tulane, and I wonder if that creates some problems. All that being said, the number one key in this football game for me, especially now that we know Austin Simmons is starting for the Rebels, you got to leave this football game if you're Ole Miss. Of course, will they win? But more importantly, knowing who your quarterback is moving forward and feeling confident about that.
Yeah, it's certainly an important facet of this game, but the reality is that while Austin Simmons has been turnover prone and you might not want to start a transfer in, they've been effective on offense. It's the defense that I'm more worried about. You give up 23 points to Kentucky, and I know that's not a lot of points, kind of a joke, but 23 points to Kentucky, 35 to Arkansas. Their defense has not been what it was, especially last year. That interior defensive line is not nearly as strong. That worries me for this Tulane matchup.
Yeah, I was going to kind of hit on the same note as you, Kirby, of we talk about Ole Miss's offense this season because they are turning the ball over. And I would say that is probably the bigger goal in this one, that Austin Simmons needs to start gaining some confidence and consistency in this offense, because from here on out, it's nothing but big boys in the conference, and it's all the games that matter. So we have to be clean from here on out. We can't be still having turnover issues and hoping that we end up as a 10-2 football team at the end of the year. But defensively as well, I think that's kind of been overlooked a little bit by this Ole Miss team because of what is happening on offense, because of what has happened at quarterback. So those would be the two things for me. Like, really, you need like a pick-me-up game almost this week if you're Ole Miss, of like, all right, we cleaned some things up. We can go into this next week with some more confidence, knowing our identity as a football team.
Is this the third year in a row they've played Tulane?
I don't know if they played them.
Will you look this up for me? Because they've never handled them. They've never beaten this team.
They played in a bowl game one time, didn't they?
I know they home and homed them. I know that for a fact. And they've never, like, 38-10 to this football team. They've always barely beaten them, fourth quarter win, that type of, slop around for 4 quarters. So the other thing about this Tulane offense is they can squeeze the air out of the ball. They definitely can.
Mm-hmm. All right, so the last time they played them was in 2023.
Yeah, I was wanting to say Jackson Dart's first career start.
Ole Miss won that game 37-20.
It was a late pull away.
Yeah, late pull away. Like mid-third, that's 2020.
They didn't play last year. They didn't play in 2022.
Okay. So I'm remembering a home and home from...
They played in 2021. And
all right, so I'm remembering the home and home from 21 and 22.
Yeah.
That, again, they didn't dominate either of those matchups,
they won the 2021 matchup 61-21.
Okay.
But that's
a little bit different.
4 seasons ago at this point. So.
And a different football coach.
Yeah.
That was old buddy that left Tulane to go to Troy or something like that. So totally different football coach. Summerall's probably going to get an SEC job soon, I would imagine. Mm-hmm. Oh, Lane Kiffin actually said that this week.
Lane I thought that was a transition you were doing.
No. Transition. How about the Bussin' Bowl? Shout out to the Bussin' with the Boys folks. What's your take on this Nebraska-Michigan football game? The Wolverines going out into Husker land.
I think you have two offenses, one that's led by a really, really talented, perhaps generationally talented quarterback, but the weapons around him aren't necessarily great. And then you have another quarterback that's playing some of his best ball in his second season starting, but again, the weapons might not necessarily be there. I think this is going to be a matchup factor of which quarterback can get the explosive plays for their offense. And I kind of favor Michigan in this regard, but I also think Nebraska's got a chance to make some things shake.
Are you okay if you're a Nebraska fan winning this in typical Big Ten fashion?
You're okay if you're a Nebraska fan winning this in any fashion.
Correct. Okay. Yeah, I would agree with that. But with that being said, I think that's kind of how you're going to have to win this football game, in my opinion, because that's just how I see this matchup kind of going, because I think it's not Bryce Underwood's first big start or first big matchup, but it certainly is Dylan Raiolas of this season, I would say. So I just think that this is kind of a slow-paced football game. Both teams are going to be trying to feel each other out for the first half, and I think this very well could be like a 20-17 game or like something along the lines of 2013. And with that being said, I think the biggest key in the matchup is like you got to win in the moments in that second half. Like who's going to win these major moments? Like who's going to get the stop if a team gets in the plus territory? You make them settle for a field goal, or who's going to get the crucial turnover, who's going to do those things in this game. And Nebraska hasn't certainly been successful winning these close matchups in prior years under Matt Rule. You got to figure out a way to get over that hump in this football game, in my opinion.
My biggest key is which one of these coordinators is going to win the battle of explosives mid-off that we got going on in this ball game.
It's kind of
what you were hitting on. Like, against Power 4 competition, they've only had one game apiece, right? Michigan's played Oklahoma. They did not look very explosive at all. If the number one doesn't bail them out, the Big X, like they have no chunk plays, okay? And Justice Haynes' 75-yard run, 0 chunk plays, okay? And then you look at Nebraska versus Cincy.
Oof.
And my God, I mean, they averaged 4 yards in a cloud of dust. That's what they were going at. So I just wonder, like, can Dana Holgorsen get any type of chunk plays out of this? Now, what makes me feel really, really good is I turned them on against Tittawatta Tech last night, and Dane Key's getting touches left and right. Dane Key's getting calls left and right. They're designing things for Dane Key. I do think it is a Michigan defense, though. I still think that is a Michigan defense. Say what you want about offense. Like, they're going to make it hard for you to score, and that makes me worry about Nebraska because they don't have much of an explosive nature on offense against real football teams.
I don't think I've seen Nebraska have like an offense that's like, oh, they can score points quickly in 10 years.
Ever?
Maybe. I didn't want to be that dramatic.
Like, who is that? Who is the quarterback? Wasn't it a Martinez was the quarterback on that Ndamukong Suh team? One of the 17 Martinezes that played out there?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know?
I think you're right.
I mean, they just don't – they went on defense and running the football.
Yep.
Normally. It's Matt Rule, though. I am believing in year 3. That's what I'm believing.
Oh, so you think Nebraska wins this game?
I picked Nebraska to win it last night, and I wasn't kidding. Yeah, I got it 20-17, 24-20, something like that.
Was interested to see that Michigan is favored in this game.
Yeah. I mean, that doesn't really necessarily surprise me. I would imagine Michigan's the larger national betting brand.
For sure.
Ain't a whole lot of sharps picking the Huskers, I would imagine. Grinding Husker tape. Maybe they are. That's Michigan at Nebraska. Thoughts on Florida at Miami? I think the major key here is very, very obvious, and it's been talked about. All right. I think they had that win for the Gipper defensive performance last week, and it was gut-wrenching. Guys, I ran some numbers on this today. Last week against LSU had 12 total offensive possessions. Okay, 5 of which were handed to them by the Florida offensive quarterback. All right, they had 12 total offensive possessions. They garnered 10 total first downs, all right, and 2 total touchdowns allowed. All right, they gave up 13 total points to a football team that got it 12 times. That's pretty damn impressive. I also think it broke their will, and I wonder about that going into this football game against Miami. That's my major key.
Yeah, I mean, as a defense, like the fact that through the first few weeks of the season,
Got to break your soul.
you've been showing up every single game. You've been doing your job. And I guarantee you, there was probably something said last week heading into that LSU matchup of like, boys, if we can make them settle just a couple of times, if we can just if we hold them to like around 20 points, we're going to win this football game.
We got DJ Lagway.
This offense is going to be all right. We got Jaden Ball. Like, we're going to be all right. If we can just get them around that 20-point target at home in their own stadium, we're going to be all right. And then you do exactly that, and the offense just completely drops the ball. And the same thing, which I know the defense was the one that had that crucial penalty against USF, but man, your offense wasn't helping you out much in that football game. So that's exactly my key, and that's what I've been talking about with this Florida team. Of this defense has been showing up every single week, and mind you, this is coming from somebody that said all offseason that I have major concerns about this defense because they allowed one player in the spring game to have over 200 yards receiving, and the backup quarterbacks were throwing the ball all over the field with the starters on defense. So I had major questions. This defense has been showing up. How much longer can you get them to show up for you? Because that's what this one boils down to, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the biggest factor for this game, and it's kind of underlying, and it's sad to say that, but does Florida even care at this point?
It's a great question.
Have they come out and said, you know what, we're 3 games in, this season's a wash. We thought we were going to have a potential playoff team. We thought we might have a Heisman contender at quarterback. Neither of those seem to be coming to fruition in the quarter in the season. We've got to now go to Miami against a playoff team, a team that we think is going to make the playoff, and a quarterback that looks like he might be contending for the Heisman. Our coach is probably going to get fired this season. Like, what do you have to fight for?
Here's my question. Now, this is a real tinfoil hat theory, but boys, put them on with me right quick. No, put them on.
We didn't make tinfoil hats.
Put them on.
It's on.
Put them on.
Yeah, put them on.
If you're the Florida underclassmen crew, right? I'm not talking about the guys who were playing their last year of college football. I'm talking about the underclassmen. Do you come together and say, hey, boys, we're one bad loss away from all getting medical or free red shirts and free transfers?
Players only meeting just to talk about that.
Meeting. This guy's cooked anyways. Let's not go out here and save his job. We could all be free agents on Monday.
So you're saying like
I'm just asking, is this asinine? Because in today's world of college football, I don't think what I'm asking is asinine. If 40 guys came together and say, hey, we're 38-10 absolute beating from all of us just getting to take a free year. But if we go out here and play our backsides off for this guy, and God forbid, save his job.
So wait,
if you want out so bad, why not just transfer at the end of the year anyways?
Because you don't get to protect your red shirt at that point, Jonathan.
But
we're 4 games in. This is it. I get to play this one last game, and if this guy's not cooked, my year is.
So
you see what I'm saying?
So your implication is that like we're going to go out and throw this game to get Billy out of here?
I ain't saying throw it. I'm just saying maybe we don't play like our hair's on fire. And even if this is not a verbally discussed thing, there has to be an inkling in every single individual in that building.
Definitely.
If this guy's out, I'm out. You know, I get a free restart at this thing. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'm a 2 that thinks I'm a 1. Maybe I'm a 1 and I don't like my position coach. See what I'm saying? It's a real thing in today's world of college football that we have to pay attention to, I think. I don't think I'm just being crackpot goofy guy.
I don't think it's a crazy theory at all. And honestly, it makes even more sense when you think about how the SEC has basically paid out the majority of their contracts. It's not like you're leaving money on the table when you do this. So it certainly could happen. It's just hard, and I don't want to even wrap my head around the idea of an SEC football team being like, yeah, you know what, we're 4 weeks in, I'm going to pack it up and call it a day. So, I mean, the phrase "it just means more" is...
Did we not see this from... I know it's not an SEC team, but did we not see this exact same thing from Florida State last year and wonder how in the hell does this happen in a program like that?
Definitely. I don't want to entertain that. It's certainly possible.
I don't want to entertain it. I don't like that that's where we're at. But I know the realities. If they fire that guy on Sunday, the whole roster is free agents.
I think there would be a higher chance of that happening if if Florida was about to play Vanderbilt, something like that. The fact that this is Florida versus Miami, as much as there is a feeling maybe in those guys to say like, man, I could really do myself a lot of help right now for my future career and what I could do next season if I just kind of let this one die out. But there's also a feeling in all those guys probably, or majority of those guys, of we don't lose to this football team.
I hope that college football players still got that.
I hope so too.
I know their fans do. I wonder.
And I'll be the
I wonder
optimism.
if a 19-year-old still does. I wonder if a 19-year-old, or even better yet, like a specific player. Let's go like an Aaron Gates. Aaron Gates been there 3 years. Has done nothing but play 500 football. Miami's coming to town. That's a kid from Sharpsburg, Georgia. Think he cares?
I don't know.
I mean, he's been there 3 years.
It all depends on if Billy cares, and I would say Billy cares.
Okay. I hope so too. I hope we actually get a football game.
I'm going to be the optimist here. That's what I'm hoping for.
I'm like a coin flip, no different than I was at halftime watching that FSU or LSU game the other night. What did I tell you? There's a 50% chance LSU beats the brake drums off these guys and Florida lays down, or Brian Kelly will find a way to lose this football game. There's one. That's the same thing here. Miami will find a way to lose this football game, or they're going to beat the brake drums off of Florida. That's the way I feel about this one. Illinois at Indiana, boys. Thoughts on this football game? For me, it's whether or not the lone defensive player I know on either one of these rosters, Gabe Jackas, whether or not he's going to be able to impact this football game, because I don't know if a single solitary defensive soul otherwise will.
That's just down to one player.
Just one player, Gabe Jackas, big-time sack, fourth quarter, Illinois wins.
We got 22 on the field.
We just have a guy to make a play. Just you. Just get one.
I think it more so boils down to the quarterbacks in this one. Maybe that is because I know both of these quarterbacks, and that's who I'm most aware of on these rosters. But, I mean, hey, I've been a Fernando Mendoza guy since way back when last season, so I'm very aware. And so I think that knowing that Illinois' offense has the ability to be explosive, now I say that. They did it against Duke, and I think the more and more we learn about Brooks's Duke Blue Devils, probably not a very good football team, probably not very good defensively at least. So I don't know if that is like the true standard for Illinois offense this year. I think it's more so likely that they kind of go back to what they have been.
How dare I believe in Manny Diaz?
That's a fair point.
The guy brought us the turnover chain. I should have known.
And then we know what Indiana's offense wants to do. We know what that offense looks like under Kurt Cignetti, and it certainly has been that way also with Fernando Mendoza at quarterback. So I think it really boils down to those two guys. Who's going to make the bigger plays? I would lean Fernando Mendoza in this regard because I think he brings more to an offense. But the Illinois defense has always been pretty solid as well.
You're just a Mendoza lover.
I really am. I have an affinity for him.
3 years now.
I have an affinity for him.
You marked territory like very first time.
I did. Him and John Mateer were mine before anybody else.
Yellow snow all around the both of them.
Yep.
Jonathan's.
That's right.
I mean, it's one of those things like we. Sorry,
you just might as well say I don't got nothing.
You're good, dude. You're good. I thought we were at the point where we could work off eye contact and dead silence, but.
Well, I was reading the chat and I looked up and you're staring at me. I'm like,
yep, that's how it goes.
I figured that was your way of feeling like.
It goes A, B, C, or A, C, B. Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I don't really have much to add on that. I think, like you said, it's going to boil down to quarterback play here. Both teams clearly need this win because they're the Big 12 kind of outcast or Big 10 outcast of, your record might say you're a playoff team, your ranking might say you're contenders, but no one really believes in you, so you need this win to bolster it up. So I think it's going to play down to quarterback play.
Flag, we've talked plenty about the Auburn at Oklahoma matchup on this channel, so let's skip right ahead to Jonathan's fun game of the night. What do you got for me, son?
So I got a little bit of I got a game of Guess Who. But this isn't going to be me setting up like I'm going to give you some details on a player, then you got to ultimately guess them. No, this is going to be a twist of is it Texas or is it Clemson?
Ooh.
Okay.
All right. So here's the first one.
This will be fun.
This team ranks 92nd in the country for points per game, averaging 24.
It's got to be Clemson.
That's Texas.
Because Texas has played 3 tomato cans.
It would be the Texas Longhorns. What? Clemson ranks 112th, averaging 19.3 points per game.
Clemson's worse?
Yeah, Clemson was way worse.
You tricked me there, you little booger.
Clemson was way worse. What did you say they were averaging?
Texas is averaging 24 even. Clemson is averaging 19.3.
Yeah, Clemson hasn't surpassed 30 points.
So 3 tomato cans, averaging 24 points per game right now. Moving on. This team ranks 77th in the country for total offense with 382.7.
Yards per game or
total offense.
Okay. So are you doing me the better of the two every time?
I'm just giving you a stat and you have to tell me which one do you think this is.
One more time.
This offense is averaging 382 yards per game.
382 yards per game. That's Clemson.
Texas had like 205 against Ohio State, so it can't be them. Clemson?
It is the Texas Longhorns.
What?
Clemson actually ranks. Hold on, I don't think that. No, that's not right. I don't know what they rank. Clemson is averaging 319.3 yards of offense per game right now.
So Texas is under 300 yards of total offense per game right now?
No, Texas is at 382.
Still not very good.
77th in the country, though.
Yeah.
All right. This team ranks 121st in the country for first downs per game, averaging 15.7.
It's Texas.
I want to say it's Clemson here.
It is Clemson. Texas ranks 98th in the country, averaging 19 even.
Where would they be without C.J. Baxter?
Right. And he's dealing with a hamstring injury right now.
Oh, man, I hate to hear that.
This team ranks 126th in the country for third down conversion rate at 28.57.
Now, that's got to be Texas because their quarterback's playing like poop.
Yes, I agree with this one.
It is the Texas Longhorns. Okay. Clemson ranks 75th in the country at 40.54. All right, here's your final one. You got to guess the quarterback. This quarterback has thrown for 633 yards, has completed 59.1% of his passes, and has thrown for 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions.
Ooh, the interceptions.
Cade hasn't thrown an interception.
Yes,
no, he did. He threw one this weekend against Georgia Tech.
Don't need to tell us it's Quinn or it's Arch.
Is it Arch?
This is Cade Klubnik. Here's Arch Manning's stat line.
Oh, you know why?
This is going to make us vomit. He's less than 59%.
You know what? I should have known this because he threw for 4 touchdowns against.
Is he completing like 48% of his passes right now?
No, it's not.
He has thrown for 579 yards, has completed 55.3% of his passes, has thrown 6 touchdowns and 3 interceptions.
He threw 4 against San Jose State. I'm pretty sure he's thrown 1 in each of the other games.
So here's the thing, and we'll go ahead and transition right into what if right here. What if this doesn't get fixed?
Arch.
What if this doesn't change? Because guys, I'm here to tell you that the pressure ain't gonna get less. The eyeballs aren't gonna be like go away. The takes and the expectations of you are not changing. Or the pressure's not gonna go away. So when are we gonna be comfortable with this? And when are we going to start playing the position like we played it last year, carefree and fun? Right now, you look like you have the weight of the world on your shoulders every single time you take a snap. And I just don't know when this goes away.
I don't want to be the Texas fans take shelter or sound the alarms or anything like that, but there's an opportunity for your season to be over the next 3 weeks.
Clearly.
You have to take a road trip to the swamp. I don't care what Florida team it is, all right? You got to go on the road. You're going to take Arch Manning in that offense on the road to Florida, which I just got done talking about. That defense is playing good, actually.
At this rate right now, if he plays like he did against UTEP, are they scoring 20 points?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. And then the following week, you have your matchup against Oklahoma. This is your final week. Your final week to get any of these yips out of the way, to finally figure out something offensively, get things going, because I'm telling you, you could lose both of those SEC matchups and have 3 losses, and your season is done.
And here's the other thing about this. They don't have a backup.
Not really, no.
Like, it's the kid from Alabama that was Ryan Williams' quarterback. Lacey? Is that his last name? I think it's Lacey. Okay, they got him, and then Lord only knows what. It's wait around till Dia gets here.
I mean,
I think Diabell's gonna be really, really good, but like this, you can't go away from this.
So Lacey is the 4th string according to our lads. Matthew Caldwell, who's a transfer they took this offseason, is the 2nd string, and Trey Owens, who's a redshirt freshman, is the 3rd string.
Dang. I mean, if Arch is this bad and you go through this gauntlet of a schedule, I don't think 8-4 is off the table.
No.
If you go 8-4 this year, do we start talking about Sark on the hot seat going into 26?
No.
A little too quick.
Yeah, a little too quick. And also, like, I think a hot seat nowadays in this conference is 7-5, repetitive. I think you get away with one blotch at 8-4.
Yeah, but
especially if you're signed through 2030.
This is true.
You know?
This is true.
It's just, man, I don't know how you calm him down, because it was very clear to me they had 2 absolute slappies the last 2 weeks, and coach is trying to get him comfortable, and he throws 14 duck farts in a row.
The play of him scrambling all over the place in the red zone and scrambling all the way to his right and throwing over the middle of the field and throwing an interception, never thought I would watch that happen from Arch Manning.
A Manning.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I never thought I would watch that play unfold. That tells me everything about what's happening right now. Of like, he's not being him at all.
I didn't even get to see the stretch of 14 incompletions, but I come in at halftime at the Georgia-Tennessee game to switch out some batteries and upload photos to do my job, and I look up, and Texas is 7-3 midway through the second quarter, like almost at the half against UTEP, and they're dusting off quarterback run game on 1st and 10. Like they running the guy like he's Jalen Hurts out here in college. It's just very, very interesting. The other interesting thing here is guys like, what is the example of Sark righting the ship with the quarterback?
That's
Quinn
my next question.
I thought Quinn got worse. Okay, is it Mac Jones?
Mac Jones had a,
But is it riding the ship with him?
he didn't really have.
No, he got 1 year, and it didn't like it got better. It just progressively was good.
And also had the Heisman winner at wide receiver, one of the best receiving corps in the country.
Yeah.
Played a 10-game schedule. Like, I look at that COVID season for all...
and chop it up.
It's like there's a lot of asterisks that going on there. So, yeah, the track record with quarterbacks for Steve Sarkisian hasn't been fantastic.
Brooks, is it possible that Arch is being overcoached? I don't see a kid that's being overcoached. By the way, not an extremely hard system to play in as a quarterback. I hate to tell y'all this. It's really not. They got 3 routes on almost every given pass play unless it's third in a zip code. Like, most of their passing game is basically play action flood. That's it. Like, that's really it. So it's not like, hey, we come to the line of scrimmage, we're in duos, they're in cover 4, we got a smash concept over here, we're going to read this first. If that's not open, we got 2 late crossers that we got to get over in time on. No, it's, hey, play action. If the middle of the field is closed, we're hitting the deep over. And he can't even do that right now confidently, and that's what's really, really scary to me. What if Jackson Arnold goes into Norman, Oklahoma, and absolutely shreds this weekend?
Ooh, Brett Venables might be getting some tough looks.
Yeah, well, I just think it'll be that our ex-girlfriend's hot as hell and married to a rich person right now. What is this? That's what I think it'll feel like.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, that'll also play into the like we talked about his Brett on the hot seat coming into this season.
He's cooled that sucker.
He's certainly cooled it off, but it'll warm back up if Jackson Arnold comes in and cooks you. The guy that, this is who we let Dylan Gabriel walk for, and then we told him to leave. Now he's coming back and beating us. That's not going to sit well with Oklahoma fans.
Does he do that and win?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Doesn't win, and material looks like, like they Wyoming him. Or they North Dakota him, or whoever it was that gave him hell last year.
Yeah, that's a really bad feeling if you're an Oklahoma fan.
Right.
That's a very unsettling feeling.
Yeah.
Very, very.
Would it feel worse than Heupel coming in and beating you last year?
Probably not. I think that Oklahoma fans kind of accept, maybe not at that point, but I think it was that game where the wide receiver room just got depleted.
Yeah.
I mean, it was bad. The fact that you were keeping that game close, it was like, man, that's really good on those boys. So I think that would probably feel worse, in my opinion.
It was also like Oklahoma fans like Josh Heupel.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, we hope we beat you.
Hard not to like a quarterback that delivered a natty.
Yeah.
Right.
For
It's
sure.
like, we hope we beat you, but welcome home. We still like you, all of that thing. Like, they do not like Jackson Arnold.
I don't think it's going to happen, but it'd be a cool what if.
Definitely. I got one. I do not want to do this, and I hate it, but what if Notre Dame's playoff hopes aren't quite dead yet?
I heard a take that I actually like, and I don't know who gave it, but are they better off this year at 0-2 with 2 one-score losses to Miami and Texas A&M than they were a year ago with a road loss to A&M and a loss, or a win over A&M and a loss to Northern Illinois?
They might be. I mean,
What looks better on paper?
The 2 road losses.
Yeah,
the
by
two-
a score.
the two
One of them's a home
Yeah,
loss.
the two losses to top 15 teams. That's kind of my thing. Like, we wrote off Notre Dame this time last year.
I personally feel like Notre Dame got in last year because they were 11-1. Had they had 2 Power 4 losses and 10 wins on a mediocre schedule, they're not getting in.
Maybe.
Which is going to be the case this year.
Well,
if they go on and win their mediocre
that's my
schedule.
thing, too, because like, here's what I think. USC might be a top 15 team by the time they play. Their schedule is favorable for them to be undefeated. They're ranked on the top 25 right now. Arkansas might find themselves ranked by the time Notre Dame plays them. Navy's 3-0. NC State's 3-0. Plus, if Miami and Texas A&M end up being these top 10 teams, hey,
quality losses.
Yeah, we had 2 quality losses. One of the teams we should have beat at home, besides a fluke goal line play.
Plus,
You could start making the argument for Notre Dame. I don't want that to be the case, but
let's not forget that just last year we were talking about the potential of a 9-3 football team getting into the playoff.
they did.
And we could very easily get back into that conference. Well, they got in because they won the conference championship. But I was talking about like Alabama was being considered, South Carolina was being considered. There were multiple teams that were sitting with 3 losses that were being considered. Who's to say that doesn't happen again this year? And it's, are we taking 10-2 Notre Dame, or are we taking a 9-3 SEC team or a 9-3 Big Ten team?
Me personally, Notre Dame losing those 2 football games. And by the way, that Texas A&M team you're talking about is going to be potentially one of those 10-2 SEC teams at the end of the year.
For sure.
And we're going to look at that and go, well, this SEC team came into your house and beat you. I think Notre Dame being where they're at right now opens up the opportunity for one of these SEC or Big Ten conferences to have 4 members. People for the playoff.
People forget what happened in what happens in the first 3 weeks of the season, though. It gets overlooked every single time we talk about this.
I was just told to check Oklahoma's injury report.
Yeah, someone's saying that there's a bunch of offensive linemen listed as questionable.
Okay,
but I don't know if those are starters or. I'll find out.
Well, if it's the freshman Fasusi, he's a starter. What do they got, 20 names on there or something?
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 names on this injury report. There are 4 listed as out, all offensive, or 3 offensive linemen and a DB.
Fasusi one of them?
No.
So
Fasusi is listed as questionable.
That's their 5-star left tackle, who's been playing admirably as a young player.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of offensive linemen on here.
Interesting.
What if Florida State hangs 70 on Kent State this weekend?
Whoop-de-doo, Basil.
You don't think it'll mean anything?
I mean, they scored 77 on HBCU last week.
Texas A&M or whatever?
Yeah. I don't know.
It doesn't give you any validation for that? Or
No.
Okay.
No.
I'm just wondering, because at some point, like, we're going to get the answer as to whether or not Florida State should be taken seriously.
I got one for you. What if old Bo Pribula keeps lighting it the hell up? Bo Pribula is basically averaging like 70% completion for 300 yards in a game right now. Meanwhile, have y'all turned on Penn State offense?
I have not. I have not watched any of Penn State this year.
It hasn't been fantastic.
Bro, they are high schooling that kid to death right now.
I mean, that's what they did last year.
I know.
It was basically, how can we get Tyler Warren the football?
It is such a we don't trust our quarterback offense. It's ridiculous.
Shame.
And you just like, I don't know. It's one of those situations where you probably had no idea how good Bo Pribula even is because you never played him, and y'all don't practice like you're supposed to because no one does. We have no idea about these quarterbacks until they start seeing bullets. Obviously, we just got done talking about with Arch. I mean, it's just, I think in college football, you have to practice live at least once or twice during the season. Like, you should do it in the spring, and you should practice live with the quarterback so you can actually see what's happening and actually get some type of feel about your quarterback room.
Are you saying practice live with the QB?
Hell yeah.
Like, let him get hit?
Tackle that SOB to the ground. Like, we're going 2 periods of live football. Kirby, how many times have we seen this? On good football coaches, guys that we trust. Josh Heupel is in up a creek without a paddle if Joe Milton doesn't get hurt because Hendon Hooker never plays.
That's true.
And we see this all the time. They had to drag Saban's feet to the fire to play Tua. Drag him to the fire to do it. Down in a national championship game before he finally made the decision. We see this all the time of these guys not knowing until it actually happens.
Well, I mean, the 201, you had 14 games of Jalen Hurts before that, and it was
the entire time they're screaming at him in the building, you need to play this other
but that's
guy.
not a live bullets or a practice thing. That's not going to change if they're tackling Jalen Hurts or not.
What I'm saying to you, Kirby, is there was something keeping the coach from doing that, and it's because he just hadn't seen it.
Yeah, but it's also like, just because a quarterback works out at a different place doesn't mean that coaching staff is terrible. Like, we could do this for, Georgia really messed Carson Beck up because of how Carson Beck looks right now.
I'm not looking at this as like, nana boo-boo, look at these coaches, they don't know. I'm saying they don't know because they don't know. They don't try this because they're so worried about the quarterback getting hurt.
I mean, losing the quarterback is a pretty huge deal.
Well, what if you got 2 of them?
I mean, that's great, but the statistics are if you lose one, you're likely to
look, I'm not saying go the whole damn camp letting the guy get hit. I'm just saying in in spring practice, if we have an impending quarterback decision that we don't know which way we're going to lean, let the sumbitches go live for 2 periods and just see.
I think the way you have to look at it is the risk versus the reward. How many teams actually have 2 good quarterbacks on the roster? We know some very memorable stories of teams having to go to a backup and them actually having very successful seasons. But that's probably not the case for a lot of teams. I don't hate the idea. I mean, I think you could learn a lot about a quarterback if you put him in that type of setting. But I just don't know if the risk outweighs the reward. But it could, because you just don't know.
Well, I mean, obviously it doesn't, because these guys don't do it.
Yeah, right.
Like, these guys don't let the quarterbacks play live. I think Kirby alluded to letting Gunner go live. I know it was during. I know he talked about it during a bowl game lead up.
Yeah.
Well, that's because Gunner came in and asked him.
I thought he did something this offseason where he said something about it too. Either way, maybe not.
So.
But
I seriously, if they're telling that guy to slide in games,
I doubt it too. They knew that guy was the starter. There was no need for it. But it's a thing that I think about as a football observer of, we don't know. Plus, you don't know what these guys are until you start letting the bullets fly.
Plus, the other thing too of like, these quarterbacks at Power 4 schools are making a lot of money. So then you as a coach are going to go tell this player, hey, we want you to go live at practice, and yeah, there's a chance that maybe your season gets wrecked because of it, but we just want to see. I don't know what the odds of that player saying like, oh yeah, let's do it. I'm all here for it, coach.
If I walked into my quarterback room and I said, hey guys, we can't decide which one of you is going to start for us, so we're going to make y'all live. Does anybody have any problems with that? The person that raises their hand and says they have a problem with that ain't my quarterback. I'm sorry.
I think, hey, look,
it's just the way I'm rolling.
I mean,
it's the way I'm rolling. If it's that much of a decision and a toss-up. I'm not talking about like we know what these guys are in a vacuum. This guy's way better than the other one. I'm talking about we have to make a decision which one's our guy.
But I don't think that happened with Bo Pribula and Drew Aller. Like that, it was very much apparent that Drew Aller was in line for that job.
I think it was very much apparent Drew Aller was the 5-star quarterback that signed to our program, so we're going to give him every opportunity to lose the job and not give the other guy a chance to actually compete for it.
That happens.
Because Bo didn't get to play until Drew was either absolutely terrible or hurt last year.
Mm-hmm. But it's also, we're 3 games in this season. Let's not anoint Bo Pribula as like,
you're right,
a slam run.
You're right. Or announce Drew Aller 3 years in that he's not the guy too soon.
I mean, that's completely different than saying Drew Aller is not a great quarterback, as opposed to Bo Pribula was the truth.
Last what if before we go to the national hour. What if Syracuse beats Clemson? Send it to the local.
I would love to see the Dabo rants after that.
Welcome into Talk the Dog, the show where we find a bone to pick and a take to give. These are not hot takes. These is dog takes. Can I talk that dog? What's up? You like that? You really like that? Let's shut up and grind some tape.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back here on the Film Guy Network for another loaded hour of content here, and it is our best hour, the local hour. But first, we must hit you in the face with a little ditty. Hey, let's shut up and let's grind. And they attacked your butt, Georgia. It's just going to be feeding you little cookies to smack you in the face with a big boy on the back end of that, okay? As the looks changed, we started putting balls on back shoulders and we start missing these balls. All right, it's wide and we have the choice. That's why their guys got to have huge bazookas. And I'm just going to take it between my legs and I'm going to throw it back. We're trying to dig him out right here and we go low. But I feel like that's the head man over there. I feel like he thought he had this thing licked. Bro, the cut on the center clip was diabolical.
That was
diabolical. Like, why are you doing your mans like that? That's crazy.
Hey, you put it on tape, I'm going to report on it.
You put that shit on tape.
You put it on tape?
Yeah.
You put that shit
You put it on tape.
We bring it to you. Hey, let's handle some of these super chubs at the top of the local hour. We love the fan funding section of this network. Let's holler at them right quick. Steven says, name the SEC teams that Arch would start for right now. Kentucky?
Mississippi State?
No. He can't run that system.
Okay.
Chafin.
All right, so here's what are we basing this off?
They got a 5-star sitting behind Chafin right now.
Okay.
Here's the thing. Are we basing this off of the skill set that he's put out or the fact that his name is Arch Manning?
Todos. Yes, both to that answer.
Okay,
or question.
Then it's probably like 8 or 9 schools.
You think Lane's doing it?
Lane would absolutely do it.
Florida? No.
Florida might start him this week. You throw 5 picks.
It's a great question.
You throw 5 picks, it might be time to let a Manning have at it.
It's a great question. Sammy Ibrahim, our man traveling the globe, watching college football, said headed to SMU at TCU this weekend. When looking at Hoover and Stockton, although they are different quarterbacks, do you think they are similar with leaderships on their offense? And does Georgia have a donkey at right tackle that Alabama can attack? In the pass department, no, because Bo Hughley's going to be able to do that. From a run game standpoint, I do worry about Bo based off what we've seen on tape. But to answer your first question, man, I think the one thing Hoover and Stockton have aligned is that they just don't care. They'll die today.
Yeah.
Like Hoover will stand in there and take shots off the face for 4 quarters. He just doesn't care. He's trying to compete. Same thing, in my opinion, with Josh Hoover.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, certainly saw that during our breakdown of him this offseason. Of that dude will wait and wait and wait and wait, and then he'll rip it.
Georgia fan 224 says, if this is in fact Billy's last Saturday in Gainesville, what does the timeline look like for UGA if UGA wants to go after Jaden Ball, Dallas Wilson once they in fact hit the portal?
The moment it happens.
I would say the talks.
I don't even have to do this. I can guarantee you Georgia kicked tires on UCLA football players. I can guarantee you Georgia kicked tires on Virginia Tech football players. Mm-hmm. This football, it reminds me very much so of a story I heard Chris Sims say. He spent 1 year with Belichick with the Patriots, and they asked him, like, what's the difference in the scouting departments at a place like New England and everywhere else? And his immediate answer was, they turn over every leaf, while other programs only turn over leaves that apply to their program. Not Georgia. Georgia's turning over every leaf. So I don't even have to go. I'm going to tell you, the moment Billy Napier is fired, Jalen Ball and a lot of Florida Gator players will probably be getting a phone call from Georgia. Especially if they grew up in this state, okay, which Jaden Ball did.
He's by Georgia in the first place.
Say what?
Or if they were even recruited by Georgia.
Yeah, or if there was a pre-existing relationship, which, by the way, I would imagine James Coley recruited a lot of those guys.
Probably.
A lot of those guys. So, you're going to be making phone calls, as will everybody else. It's part of the reason why I think they might drag their feet on firing this guy. Unless it gets bad enough, which it very well could get bad enough.
For sure.
We got a loaded local hour. What if Wednesday? I watched Ryan Puglisi today over on Patreon, patreon.com/Brooks Austin. It's a little early for previews, but we're giving you a way too early preview on that Alabama matchup today as well. We're going to tell you what you should be watching this weekend as a Georgia football fan, and it's Wednesday, so we've got a local edition of What If Wednesday for you guys today. But I want to start with our film notes on this Patreon-only exclusive film study for our fine folks over there on patreon.com/Brooks Austin. We went back and watched that Marshall game to pay attention to that, their mop-up duty, right? Ryan Puglisi got in. I think he got 4 pass attempts, Jonathan. Is that correct?
It may have been a little more than that. Yeah, maybe 6.
Maybe 6.
He'll sling it a little bit.
He did. Well, boy, did he sling it.
Yes, he did.
Okay, that's the first thing I got for you. The very first thing we noticed, we're a big pause test group around here when we watch quarterbacks. So I had to pause the film when they let the ball go and see what their mechanics are doing. And this guy produces a boatload of RPMs. This dude produces a boatload of horsepower. This dude throws it hard. And all that to be said, he's still mechanically pretty flawed, is he not, Jonathan?
Yeah, I mean, we're
overstriding. We're working back into ourselves. We're leaning a little bit. We pull everything just a little bit too hard. We got a lot of juice still left in the frame, despite the fact that we're throwing the piss out the ball every time we rip it.
Yeah, and that's the big thing that I was going to say is we're still flawed fundamentally as a passer, yet there's still plenty of life on the football, and there was not a single throw on the tape that was like, whoa, we missed that one big time. It was still in catchable positions.
Catchable, but hard to catch?
Yeah, for sure.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
This is something I've actually heard about him since he's gotten there. It's like, dude, he throws a heavy, violent football, and it becomes very, very hard to catch for guys who aren't natural catchers, which not everybody is. I know that's hard to hear, but some guys are recruited to play the positions at Georgia because they're great with the ball in their hands. Maybe they're not great at putting it in their hands. You know what I mean? Particularly running backs, right? And you saw some of this, some of these check downs, some of these screens, like either double caught or just straight up drop from this kid because he's throwing missiles.
Yeah, there's a check down he throws to McCray, and McCray doesn't even more get his head turned around and the ball's on his face, and he's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Got to learn how to play with some finesse. Got to learn how to play with some touch out there in those departments. I think the major takeaway from me, first of all, I should say this. If you watch 6 pass attempts versus Marshall with what he actually was asked to do and be like, that's our guy, you should just delete your social media account and stop giving opinions. That's crazy to me. All right, we watched like 2 button hooks, 2 hitches, and a couple of check downs. Like, Bubba, if you left that one thinking, gotta be ours, off of what? It came out of his hand pretty? Like, whoa, too much. So you deserved 300 yards on the road and a win from Gunnar Stockton for your doubts in your football coach, for sure. That was the first and foremost for me. It's like, how do you make an assumption off of that? It's crazy to me. Other thing I got for you, I had no idea he was going to be somebody they designed runs for.
Yeah.
Like, I know he's a good athlete, and people got us in the comments with that. It's like, oh, he was a good athlete in high school. Yeah, they all are. They're all great athletes in high school, especially when they play mass high school football. But, like, are you good enough of an athlete for me to design runs for you? That's a total different avenue of offense.
My question in that is...
Quarterback draw on 3rd and 9, Kirby. It was a real call.
No. That's not my question is that... This offense is clearly catered to what Gunnar Stockton is good at. Is that probably why you're seeing some runs develop for Ryan Puglisi? It's
a great question. Hey, you go out there and you run what we're running right now.
Yeah.
But it was 3rd and 9.
That would be my initial thought too. But not only that, like when they were calling it, but he ran it like he wanted to. It wasn't like I'm doing this because it's the right play. Let me get down. Like, there's a play where he's running to his right and he spins off a defender, like avoiding contact, then getting down. And then there's another one in the 3rd and 9 where he's taking contact, breaking arm tackles.
Yeah, it was a little bit different to me. Avon Farms in Connecticut, my bad. I'm confusing Mass high school football and Connecticut high school football. That's on me. Real high quality. Now, what I do love about his high school journey, as I was telling you guys about this, he was from a very, very small high school and then transferred to Avon Farms, which is the northeastern version of IMG Academy. Like, they're trying to be a boarding school that focuses on athletics and really like makes these guys get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go to weights, and then makes them go to stretching and therapy, and then make them go to class and then come back for meetings and then come back for practice. So he was well conditioned for the workload of college football, just hadn't seen the speed of college football just yet. But there's no doubt when he sees it, he rips it. Like, he's very, very confident in ripping the football. There's no doubt about that. I was just stunned by we're still not mechanically clean yet. We throw like darts everywhere. And we're going to be a rushing threat. That was news to me. It was good news to me as well. See the chat talking about him being like an equate version of Josh Allen. Guys, I don't think people realize how big Josh Allen is.
Yeah.
Josh Allen's the size of tight ends in the NFL. Josh Allen's 6'5", 245 pounds. This kid's like 6'3", 225?
Yeah.
He's a big guy. Allen. He's a big dude. He's not massive, okay? There's a slight difference. Now, I do think there is some mechanical lineups with what he's doing now, Ryan that is, and what Josh was doing at Wyoming, and whether or not we can go from our shoulders throwing like this to our shoulders throwing like this will ultimately depend whether or not we make the leap like he ultimately did. I think Daniel Jones is a decent comp right about now. It's a really good comp.
Yeah, it's not one that makes you feel gross, especially.
I don't know why. This kid was a top 5 pick and is going to play 12 years in the league. Like, I think people get real caught up in, oh, he's not an NFL superstar, so you must be giving him a shitty comp. No, we just compared him to a guy that was drafted in the top 5 and threw for 3,000 yards 3 years in a row at Duke. That's pretty damn good. All right, it's pretty damn good. So there is that. Yeah, Josh is almost 6'6". You're right. I mean, he's a massive, massive dude. So there's that. Not really enough to judge him off of right now, but I know he's going to rip it. I don't think he's ready to be the guy right now, but he's ready to play winnable football if Gunnar gets hurt. I
think at the very least, and I think this would provide like some sort of confidence in a fan if it ever got to this point of he's going to walk into a football game and he's going to be confident. That's same way how like when Gunnar was going into the SEC championship game after halftime, the one thing everybody knew about Gunnar was, well, he's probably very confident in himself because that's what he's always shown on tape, and that's what Ryan Puglisi showed. And it may be just Marshall, but I think you could just watch it go out there, and he's like, he trusts everything that he throws. It seems.
Chat's asking, does Gunnar's dip when he throws worry you, Brooks? I mean, like, if he were my son or if he were my quarterback, we would have fixed it, or we would have tried to fix it. I know how I would do it. I've told you guys this before. We throw baseballs immediately. There's no way to quick release and get a ball out of your hand, out of a glove, and like turn 2 like a shortstop. There's no way to do that like this. There's just no way to do it. So I would have tried to clean that up, but you don't touch him in the middle of the year. We're not ever going to be changing mechanics midway through the year. That is a death sentence, okay? That is no different than walking up to a hitter that's hitting 275 in the middle of the year, facing 100 mile an hour every day, and go, hey, son, we're going to build it. We're going to rebuild it right now mid-season. He's hitting 275. He's about to hit a $175 because you've just done everything to him when he just needs to go out there and play football. I would just let this kid play football. Just let him go out there and play football. I wouldn't coach him up too much. We'd coach the decisions, right? Are we making the right decisions? Are we protecting the football? Are we protecting ourselves? I'd worry about that. We would not be working on mechanical stuff right now.
Yeah, I mean, go watch that 4th down pass that you completed on Saturday. The mechanics are good enough to win you football games.
Damn right. Nose down. What a dot. An absolute dot.
Is that something that NFL coaches are going to want to work on? Sure. You don't need to worry about that.
Should I give the offensive line take?
I think I'm
going to give it. Here's the deal. Just because they big don't mean you should take them. That's all I'm going to say. I think Georgia is right now tracking to be 1 for 4 with regards to is he even playable with these, I'm just going to take the biggest, longest, tallest guy that is available at offensive line. What is really playing out for them really well right now is just taking good football players. Drew Bobo is a good football player. He's not physically going to be a first-round draft pick. He's a good football player. He knows how to play ball. Dontrell Glover is the lowest rated, smallest guard they've taken in, I don't know, 7 years. But he's a damn good football player, and he's going to play for them for 3 years before he's an NFL draftee, maybe 4, depending on how high he's ultimately projected, right? Like, y'all don't need to be taking every 6'8", he's tall, my God, look how big this guy is, type of football player, because they ain't really working out for you right now, in my opinion. Okay, and I don't want to go through their names. I don't want to call these guys out, but I watch them on film, and I just see big, tall, long. I don't see football player. I need y'all to continue to recruit really good football players on the line of scrimmage. And if they turn out to have first-round traits and talents, that's awesome. But you guys need good football players on the line of scrimmage.
Mm-hmm. Be glad with the guys that you landed in this previous class because you got some good football players.
I just gave that rant. I think they've learned their lesson, right? There's no project in 2026. There's a bunch of high-floor football players that will one day play for Georgia. Mm-hmm. But we're going to take this high-ceiling guy. Best case scenario, he's a first-round draft pick, but that's 1 out of 9 simulations. The other simulations is we just can't play him. He's not going to be playable. Like, I get it. I get that maybe one day he might turn into Trent Brown, but the track record right now says y'all don't have a Trent Brown. Y'all got a Bo Hughley, who's a damn good football player and is going to play over some of those other guys.
Yeah, and I think the way I described it off air was they keep trying to find a Jordan Davis on the offensive line, it seems like, to where it's, hey, this guy's got the physical traits, he's huge, and it might work out for us. Obviously, Jordan Davis worked out for you, so that's why I think you might be trying to do the offensive side of the approach.
And look, they to your point, they tried the Jordan Davis thing multiple times over too.
Yeah.
I mean, Josh Jarrett we think he might be Jordan Davis. Maybe those are just 1 in a million, man. Maybe those are just 1 in 1,000. I don't know. I think I just gave that rant, but they've cleaned it out. I see what the chat's talking about. I know. Nair Daniels wasn't my guy. I know. I thought it was going to work. It ain't working. I don't think it's working. It might work. He's still young, but we say that he's still young. Like, he's getting overplayed by guys already. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's interesting. What are you watching this weekend, boys?
The games?
Yeah. What are you watching this weekend? What should a Georgia football fan be watching this weekend?
So there's a couple of them that we put out an article on Bulldogs on SI as well. I think the one that's going to be most intriguing for me is the Auburn-Oklahoma matchup. One, Auburn's an opponent you'll play later in the season. It's one that's it's probably the biggest SEC matchup of the week. That's one that I think you should pay attention to if you're a Georgia fan, not just to see what these two teams look like, because you might cross paths with Oklahoma if they keep winning like this, but you're definitely going to cross paths with Auburn.
Mm-hmm. I think also, like, you're putting right now, chat's putting together a list of players that are totally different than the profile I'm talking about. I don't put Amarius Mims in this category, despite the fact that he is that. That was a can't miss prospect. Same for Isaiah Wilson. Tate Ratledge was 6'7", 315, totally different than 6'9", 345, 375 pounds. And also flexible enough to play guard, totally different situation. And I can't believe that a Georgia fan put Xavier Truss in that list when every other list I've ever seen Xavier Truss in is he's not good enough. You know?
Yeah.
So I can't believe that one just got used against me. But anyways, it's just a thought. I think they're moving away from it anyways. What are you watching? Auburn, Oklahoma?
I think you should certainly be, even if it turns out being a bad football game, you should certainly be watching the Florida-Miami game this weekend. Not to watch Miami's quarterback as much as some of you probably want to, but I think you definitely need to know what Florida team you're going to be getting in October, because I think that while not a lot of Georgia fans would have admitted it, I think coming into the season there was a layer of Georgia fans that were probably a little concerned about that football game, knowing what DJ Lagway did in the small snaps that he got in last year's game, and knowing what that offense was looking like heading into this season. So you definitely feel more comfortable now, but I mean, there might be an opportunity for you to get a beatdown of a lifetime against that Florida team this year, and that would be kind of nice to know. But yeah, just kind of seeing is this team still fighting for Billy after the first 3 weeks, or is this going to be like a ghost town potentially by the time they get matched up against us?
Yeah, another team that you should watch to see what their fight is Tennessee. They play UAB this week. If they come in and beat the hell and put up 70, that makes you feel that much better of, okay, we did just beat a team that's actually that good and didn't just have a good matchup against us after beating 2 tomato cans. Now, I know UAB is also a tomato can, but if you put together 4 straight weeks of really strong offensive performances, you feel really good about that game as a Georgia fan.
That job's got to be coming open soon, right? That UAB job?
Oh, yeah, probably.
Much better job than he's doing with it, I think, personally. Having driven through Birmingham, having seen that brand new stadium, knowing what Birmingham high school football is about, I just feel like they should be better. I feel like UAB should be they should be South Florida, in my opinion.
That's fair.
They should be that caliber of football program, in my opinion. Now, maybe I have no idea what he's dealing with. Maybe I have no clue how hard it is to be a UAB football coach. That being said, Birmingham high school football is the best in all of Alabama, in my opinion. Close second, maybe Montgomery or maybe Birmingham. It is Birmingham, excuse me. But yeah, it's the best high school football in the state by a mile. And I don't understand how they're out there. They're unplayable bad. Every time I turn them on, it's crazy.
Yeah, Josh Heupel might put 80 points up on them this weekend.
No remorse.
No.
None from that guy. Every time he plays one of these teams, he's like, I'm going to score 90.
Final game that you might want to tune into.
I got one.
Fan. Go ahead.
Sam Houston at Texas. I'm peeping it.
I'm
watching it. I'm going to watch it like a hawk. Because I think it's going to continue to be bad. I just don't know how we fix. He looks like he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders. Also, by the way, did y'all see the nonsense from their damn beat today?
No.
From the Texas beat. Y'all didn't see this?
Oh, the LSU thing?
Yeah. Where it's like, hey, Arch Manning is clearly crippling under the weight of the world's pressures and expectations. He's looked like poop through the first 3 starts of his career. Let's go ahead and compare him to Joe Burrow. What?
This is kind of one of I don't want to say the best thing that happened for Arch, but it's going to end up being beneficial because I think when he ultimately does have to come back in 2026, the hype around him is not going to be nearly as significant, but he will be a much better player. And I don't think you're going to have to deal with because you're going to, if this continues, you're going to go with all entire offseason of Arch Manning sucks, Arch Manning's this, Arch Manning's that, to where the expectations will be so low in the 2026 that you can exceed them much easier and be an actual really good quarterback that I think he will be.
Mm-hmm. You know how many times nowadays people ask me where I get my all 22? It's just DMs left and right. Like, I haven't been doing this for 7 years now. I guess it's just the platform growing and then people seeing it's growing and thinking it's only through that and thinking, oh, I'll do that because it's working for him. Is that what's going on?
I don't know.
I mean, left and right. Where do you get the all 22? Where do you get the all 22? Same way y'all always get in it. All of you. All right.
One final game that I think people will want to
Sunday
watch.
film review?
He's got one more.
Oh, my bad. That's what I'm saying. You're watching Sunday film review.
Oh, well, yes, that.
Yeah.
But Sam Pittman might be your biggest friend this week if you're a Georgia fan because he's going and playing Memphis. The Memphis coach, obviously Ryan Silverfield, who had that very, very interesting comment about the Georgia wide receivers driving 900 miles over the speed limit. If you're a Georgia fan, you probably want the Pitt boss to go in there and beat the hell out of the Tigers this week.
Just a Tailing Green masterclass this weekend.
Ooh. Dial it up. Taylor.
Yeah. You know what? That probably would be a bad game to watch. I think Arkansas is favored by 6.5.
Yeah, it'll be a good game.
Yeah. Hey, this is preseason top 5 G5 program Memphis we're talking about right now, all right? Ain't no slappy.
I mean, if I had FedEx money, I'd probably be out here popping off at the hip at Kirby Smart too, maybe. I don't know. Maybe the FedEx cash is getting to his head out there at Memphis. Do y'all want to do this Alabama preview right quick?
Let's dive in.
Let's do it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Alabama Crimson Tide coming over to Athens, Georgia to take on the Georgia Bulldogs inside Sanford Stadium for the first time since 2015. First time. Hopefully it's a little bit different of an outcome for you Georgia football fans listening today. All right, here's how we're going to do this. Way too early preview, but there are some obvious things that we have to talk about. And when it comes to Georgia and Alabama, particularly from the Georgia standpoint of this, guys, my first question for you is there a mental hurdle in this football game for the Georgia Bulldogs?
I think the majority would say yeah.
For the fan
it's
base,
hard not
certainly
to.
Is.
I think you see this, and this isn't just a Georgia-Alabama thing. You see this across sports all the time of teams that just for example, the Buffalo Bills right now getting over that hurdle of playing the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs. They just can't master it. They can't get over that one. Tennessee can't get over the Georgia hurdle right now. This happens with a bunch of teams. This isn't just a Georgia thing. They got this mental block against Alabama, and they're the only teams that can't figure it out. It just happens sometimes, man. You just can't figure it out.
Yeah, you win one matchup out of the last 10. I think it's fair to say there is some form of a mental hurdle because on paper, they've only been better than you probably 5 or 6 times. I mean, these have been very even matchups. Sometimes Georgia has been better on paper, and you've still found ways to lose.
Yeah, I don't know if the roster feels this because it's so damn new. But the stadium will. Mm-hmm. No different than the stadium. We watched it this weekend.
We had first class people telling us about it. How Tennessee fans, that is. Yeah, we think we can get Georgia this year, but man, it's still Georgia. Every Tennessee fan we talked to was basically saying that. I could fully see them coming in and kicking our butt. Even
more than that. That whole stadium believed that they can win that football game until that first drive of the second half. Mm-hmm. And then the whole stadium went, uh-oh. Here it goes again. And if I felt that as an unbiased, just guy on the sideline, what do you think their team felt? You know what I mean? So, if you're a fan listening to this today, and there is a moment next weekend where you think, oh my God, here we go again, you better block that the hell up out and start screaming your head off again because it ain't going to happen unless you let it happen, right? Unless you allow that type of mindset to just creep all over the stadium. Because I do believe in this sport, momentum's a real thing and you can feel it in a home crowd like that.
Yep. Most definitely.
So that's a huge talking point in this football game. If you're Kirby, how do you How do you avoid that creeping into your players? Do you just say, hey, this is a 1 week? Do you just keep going with the same motto of every game's the same, we just approach it, every game's important, all the nonsense? Or do you give them a mental competitive edge here somehow?
Well, I don't know how much of a issue this is going to be within the players. Obviously, there was last year, and most every Georgia player feels like they probably could have
Oscar
won that
Delp's
game.
0 for his last 2.
Right.
Lawson's 0 for his last 2.
Right, but the 0 for 2 in 2 games that you really, really probably could have won is not the same as 1 for 10.
31-17.
Yeah, growing up the last 15 years, you just could not beat
It's a great point you're making right here, Curb, because the last 2 losses weren't like the other ones, right? The other losses almost were all 31-17, apart from the 2017-90. That was a close game, obviously.
Correct.
But the 2 or 3 losses after that were Georgia got handled today by Alabama. How are they going to respond and then come back and beat them in a natty? You know?
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing is like, one, this is new for your quarterback. So certainly, and like, I think that plays into both, like, he has no idea, or like he understands it because this is a guy that grew up in the state of Georgia, so he's aware of it, but he doesn't know that as a player necessarily, as a starting quarterback at the University of Georgia, of like this mental hurdle of like, we can't beat them. And I also think that like one thing you've learned through the first few weeks of the season and really over the first, I think 4 starts of Gunner's career, is like, when it's time to turn it on, that dude turns it on.
Dude, it has to be one of the more mentally tough young people I've ever covered from this standpoint, right? Think about what this guy's have to go through. And he's playing confident right now, and we'll talk about that, especially with Ty Simpson having only thrown 5 incompletions in his last 40 attempts, I think it is. But anyways, think about the things that mental hurdles that Gunner Stockton has had to overcome, right? Last year, Carson gets hurt. He walks in to the middle of an SEC championship game with all the weight in the world, goes out and finds a way to win, right? And then in the lead up to that Notre Dame football game, just imagine, just take yourself here as a 21-year-old, okay? Your first time starting at your school where you grew up, you rooted for this team, you're the starting quarterback. You're getting told, hey, 14, we believe it's you. You can go win us a national title. We got to win 3 games, and then you're written in the history books forever as the guy that delivered the 3rd national title in 5 years at the University of Georgia. All right? But hey, whatever you do, don't look over there where Francisco Mendoza's watching us practice right now. Whatever you do, don't look over there where Dylan Lonergan's standing over there on our sideline watching you practice right now. Because yeah, we are kind of talking to them about maybe bringing them in next year. Huh? That happened. We talked about this last year. Okay, what does he do? He manages to summon enough confidence to go out there and go, what, 24 for 32 against Notre Dame?
Yeah.
Yep.
Look, pretty daggum good to me.
Threw for the 2nd most yards against that Notre Dame defense last year than any other quarterback.
And then we come to this year, right? And it's nothing but doubts, nothing but skepticism. Going on the road to Tennessee, what's he do? 300 yards. I mean, this guy has checked a ton of boxes. And how could you not be playing confident right now if you're Gunner Stockton? Speaking of playing confident, Ty Simpson's playing damn good football right now, boys.
Yeah, he is. And that's going to be something to pay attention to. Now, the question, and you can put the asterisk by of, yeah, well, he hasn't played anyone. Wisconsin's not good. ULM, very bad teams. But there is a difference, and there is something to be said when you watch a player of, oh, their stat sheet looked really good, as opposed to they are playing confident. They are going through their progressions confidently. They are playing this position like they believe in themselves. Ty Simpson is very clearly doing that when he was not doing that in week 1.
I saw one throw that I was like, oh, we're playing ball now. Like, we're comfortable, we're playing ball. He throws a sail route to Ryan Williams on Saturday against a 6-man blitz, and he gets absolutely blown up. Throws it early, throws it in the face of pressure, anticipates it. It's a runnable dot right to Ryan Williams on the sideline, and he gets absolutely destroyed. That's football. All right. And when you're starting to do that and you start stacking those reps as a quarterback, baby, like, we're going to start playing really, really confident. On top of the fact that we're, I think, 17-17 against ULM. And then we turn around and I think go like 21 for 25 against Wisconsin for 385. All right. And when I see every single clip I've seen of Ty Simpson against Wisconsin, they were sending the house. Yeah, they were dedicating themselves to stopping the run, and they were going to put it on Ty Simpson, and he smacked him with 385.
Yep. He's looked great. He's looked great.
He's looked so great. I've seen the Alabama content creators of, why weren't we playing this guy last year?
Oh, God.
Like that, man. It happens so quick. Hate and love for the quarterback position in this conference. like a roller coaster, man. Y'all go up and down with this stuff. Bama is getting a little bit healthier. Keyword a little bit here. Do you have an injury report on these guys or any information other than Tim Keenan potentially coming back for this football
No,
game?
they don't have a game this week either, so don't know. Other than it sounds like Jay Miller's going to be good to go for the Georgia game, and it sounds like Keenan is going to likely play.
So he had ankle surgery, or he got hurt Tuesday of that practice week leading up to Florida State. Will you check me dates on this, Jonathan? Just make sure I'm right on the timeline here. Just when that Tuesday was, okay? Because I'm counting dates to when we're expected to be back.
For when he had surgery?
I'm going to assume that he had surgery on Wednesday, the very next morning. I'm going to assume. All right, let's give him Wednesday surgery for a high ankle sprain, okay, and having tightrope. Now, the fastest we've ever seen come back from tightrope was 27 days. Okay. 27 days. All right. Sorry, I just got a text message I had to read. 27 days. That was Brock Bowers. I think the second fastest, Alabama fans will remember this, is Tua. Tua came back in like 28 days.
Correct.
Now, both of those football players look nothing like themselves until about 2 months after the fact. So whether it's 30 days removed, whether it's 35 days removed, whatever it is, I'm sure Tim Keenan's tough enough to come out here and try to play in this football game. My question is he himself? Because when he's healthy, when he's not 35 days removed from tightrope surgery, he's one of the best defensive tackles in the sport, particularly nose tackles in the sport. But if he's 80%, if he's 75%, if he's just gutting it out, are we ourselves? Are we real Tim Keenan? I don't think so.
No, and I mean, that's definitely something to pay attention to in this matchup. And the Brock Bowers example is perfect. He came back for that Ole Miss game. That was his first appearance back. It wasn't really Brock Bowers. And even in the game where he played Alabama, it was still a very hobbled Brock Bowers. So this type of injury is not something you can come back for and you can play, but you're not going to be absolutely the guy that you were before. It takes time to get healthy. So that will be something to put emphasis on.
Can't figure out like an exact date, but it was late August when it happened. So like somewhere around the 27th.
Yeah, we're going to be under a month from original date of injury. Look, I know Tim Keenan's tough as hell. We just got done talking about Birmingham high school football. That's where a kid's from. Like he is Alabama through and through, and he is the leader of that football program. He is the emotional captain of that football program. He will be padded up and ready to go for this football game. I have no doubt. But are you going to be yourself is the real question I have about that. The other question I have about these two football teams, first and foremost with Alabama, can they establish any type of run game? Now, I know we just got done talking about it. Wisconsin was dedicating themselves to the run. But they couldn't establish. They have yet to establish a run game.
Yeah, and I think that was something that Jalen Milroe certainly provided for this offense. Of even if you respected the run, it sometimes wasn't even enough to do that, and you were worried about what their wide receivers were going to do. So
even last year, with like their run game on paper looking really, really good, it was all QB run. Like they didn't have a really good traditional core or running back run game last year.
It's going to be interesting again, and Georgia, while their offense did not or defense did not look great against Tennessee, they were fairly effective in stopping the run, especially early on before they had to start dedicating bodies to the passing game. So I'm going to be very interested to see how Alabama is able to run the football in this game, because I would venture to say that they're probably not going to have as much success against this Georgia defense.
I would probably agree with that sentiment
and
as well. Correct
me if I'm wrong. They didn't really last year outside of what Jalen Milroe was doing for them. I don't think Jam Miller had a great game. I don't think there was any other.
Pull game logs right now on last year's Alabama roster, Jonathan. I would venture to say Jam Miller's season high in touches was like 14.
Probably. Now, again, when you have Jalen Milroe as your quarterback, it hinders a lot of your carries. But.
Yeah. What do you think about, speaking of Alabama's offense, we know they've got wide receivers. What do you got for me?
He had 28 against Auburn, but other than that, it would be 15 against South Florida.
What did he do in the Georgia game?
In that Auburn game?
In the Georgia game?
Oh, that was when Jalen Miller kept turning the ball over.
Jalen Miller was 5 for 8 against Georgia.
So there you go.
And even against Auburn, when he carried it 28 times, it was for 84 yards, averaging 3 yards per carry.
What did Justice Haynes do against Georgia?
I mean, I don't think that they ran the ball very well against Georgia.
They did.
It was Milroe first half, running with quarterback duo, basically into the boundary.
So that's going to be something to pay attention to. Is that you've got 2 years now where Georgia stopped a traditional running game.
And we can sit here and talk about that all day, but I know what Alabama fans are thinking. I know Alabama fans watched that Tennessee game and thought Ryan Williams is going to go for 250 against these guys.
Yep.
So are you concerned about that? As a Georgia reporter and a Georgia graduate, are you too concerned about the idea that y'all just look like not yourselves in the defensive back room, and then Alabama's coming to town in 2 weeks? I would argue Chris Brazzell's great. This wide receiver core is better.
Mm-hmm. You lost this game last year because of how you played the ball in the air. The Malachi Starks tip pass and the Julian Humphrey, obviously, touchdown that went viral are the two reasons why you lost that game. It was what gave them the 8 points in the second half, or the 11 points in the second half. That is a big issue for Georgia this year if you cannot be able to stop these run plays or stop these deep balls, play the ball in the air correctly. Ryan Williams, we've seen, is one of the better players at doing this. I would venture to guess and say that you had Georgia players being uncharacteristically bad with the ball in the air on Saturday, and there were a couple of great plays. It's definitely an area for concern. I would say, though, you're probably not going to get schemed up like you did in this Tennessee. That Tennessee scheme was developed to do just exactly that and capitalize on those deep shots. I don't know if Alabama's made for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly something that you have to think about because your biggest test of the season, your secondary did not play their best game. In fact, they got torched, and they did the exact same. They did the exact thing you said they couldn't do going into that matchup. So maybe because it's something that like you're very aware of now, and that coaching staff is really going to emphasize over the next week or so for those DBs, maybe it gets fixed. But it's certainly something that's in the back of your mind. But I think it really boils down to like how is your secondary forced to play this wide receiver unit.
Guys, I think for the remainder of the year until they start to play the ball confidently, and it could take 1 week.
Yeah.
It could take this week or whatever. Until they prove that they can do it, it will be the default prayer of an offense. When we can't move the ball against Georgia, we'll just try to throw it downfield in a one-on-one and hope our guy comes down with it.
Absolutely.
And again, other than the Ellis play, which we've watched it on film, just tackle the guy.
Yeah.
Daniel Harris was in phase. Daniel Harris was in position. Just didn't make a good play on the ball. I don't think he was panicking. I don't think it was.
And the Braylon Staley touchdown was a double. I mean, it was scheme beat.
A scheme, yes. It wasn't necessarily the ball was in the air. We couldn't do anything about it. So the 21 points from that game, one is that's a 50-50 ball that doesn't always happen. The other is, hey, tackle him next time. And the third is you got schemed up, which happens.
Yeah. But Kirby, they only put 2 balls downfield, didn't they? Did y'all win one of those?
Yeah, you got an interception from Jonell.
That's right. Okay, so you went 1 for 3 out of the 3, and it cost you 21 points essentially.
Correct.
Should Georgia? We just talked about. Should you be concerned about your defensive backs? Who's got a positional advantage in this matchup? The only one I could really come to an agreement on is, especially not having really dived into the tape like we're going to start doing on Sunday and all week next week. I do think Georgia's offensive line has a slight advantage against this defensive line from Alabama right now with how they're currently situated. That's all I could get to, though. I don't know who's got the advantage between wide receivers and DBs.
Yeah, that's a tough one to break
I don't
down.
know. I don't know who's got the advantage at quarterback right now. I don't know who's got the advantage at running back right now. Probably Georgia's got running the football. Georgia can actually run the ball. They're not one-dimensional right now. But other than that, I don't have a ton of leans right now in this football game.
No, and I mean, that's what makes these games so interesting is that they're so minute and so, hey, it's so down the middle, and we don't know until we'll know on Saturday. But that's what has made this such a great matchup in the past.
One thing I do know is something at this network I feel like we kind of pointed to and noted first and foremost. I call it the Kane Womack effect. Like, buddy, if you're in a fourth quarter fist fight, you're getting an explosive put on your head eventually at some point. Whether it's Dylan Bell double moving you in the middle of the fourth quarter for a massive go-ahead score, or whether it's Vandy getting you on 4th and 1, or whatever it is. Or whether it's FSU getting you with multiple explosives because you've been sitting in the same thing for 4 quarters. I trust Georgia's offensive staff that if this game is 28-28 in the fourth quarter and Kane Womack's been playing the same style of defense for 4 quarters, he's going to get hit in the face with an explosive.
Yeah, and that's something that we've certainly talked about too, of when you play Gunnar Stockton in Georgia running like man to man, you're making it too easy on him, and that's what Alabama's DNA has been under Kane Womack so far. So that's certainly something interesting to keep an eye on heading into this matchup too. Is like, are they going to live and die by it again?
We got an Alabama in the fan in the chat.
Oh, he's letting them have it.
Yeah, he thinks that all of Georgia's offensive line is poop. No, just the right tackle. The rest are playing great football right now. So, I mean, good luck with that observation. Guys, Kirby's first shot at Alabama at home, and they're not wearing black.
Yeah, I mean, we can go ahead and extinguish this real quick because...
Oh, I got paid to tweet it today.
You got paid to tweet it?
Yeah, sponsored tweet, Kirby Smart.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
That wasn't a joke. That was 100% serious.
Well, you know what? That makes sense because the tweet has now been deleted by the people who have been promoting the blackout.
I mean, you thought I was lying?
So we had it got nipped pretty quickly. That's for sure.
They're not. They'll black out the fans. Which, I mean...
The fans will black out.
The fans will black out, win or lose.
Yeah.
But no, they'll wear black in the stands. I don't think Georgia's...
I don't even want to see that.
You know, it's cool at night. It looks good.
Georgia did it against Ole Miss for the homecoming, didn't they? Was that a blackout?
Can I ask a question without getting hated on?
Go ahead.
When did the Spike Squad start speaking for the entire fan base? When did the Barstool account start speaking for the entire fan base? When did this happen? I'm genuinely asking. I'm not criticizing these two groups of people because they're supporters of the network. I'm just asking.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily that they speak for the fan base. It's just they have such a large following
that they think they speak for the fan base.
Well, I think it's that Barstool that Barstool UGA I think has like 100,000 followers, so they have a lot of pull. There's the likelihood that every Georgia college student or fan is following that account or is in close proximity to that account is likely. So it's why they have that.
Yeah, and I think that like most other college football teams, the athletics department is the one that tells the fans, like, this is what we're doing for these games. Like, Tennessee had Georgia pinpointed as the checkered out game in, like, June of this year. And Penn State had already picked out their wide out game earlier in the summer. But Georgia just doesn't have one of those. So, like, I feel like that they take it upon themselves of, if we want to do something and we have to do it ourselves, well, let's give it to some of the bigger voices in the stadium of the students. Like, that's a good way of getting word around of like, hey, this is what we want to do. Please participate.
Yeah, and the Spike Squad's influential. Like, there's no denying that. So I understand why. I don't think that I've ever looked at them and be like, oh, they think they run the show.
No. It was, look, I don't think they think that. I'm just asking. Like, when did it become announcement, we're blacking out Sanford Stadium?
Probably like 5 to
6 years ago.
Maybe even 10.
All right. I was just wondering. Guys, it's What If Wednesday. You got some local what ifs for me?
I got a few.
You got some good what if tidbits for me?
First one I'll go out with.
Yeah.
What if Tennessee looks terrible against UAB?
Emotional letdown.
You think so?
Yeah, I'll blame it on that.
It's not anything like, oh,
they're a playoff team. I said so first.
Oh, you know what? I wonder if it was when Georgia did the pink out. Was it when they played?
That's when it was. That would have been the 20.
Was it Austin P? Wasn't it?
Yeah, that was opposing coach.
Arkansas State.
That's opposing coach's wife.
Correct. Yeah. She had passed away from breast cancer, been diagnosed with a very sad situation. But no, that was. I think that is. You're right. That is kind of a changing of.
That was like, hey, we're going to do a pink out at the stadium. Please, everybody participate. And you got a lot of people to participate. So at that point, it was like, oh, like
we got pull.
We can encourage people to do things.
We got pull.
Not to sidetrack, but my mind went running. What if the SEC playoff teams are ones that aren't even on Georgia's schedule this year?
So that would be
Texas A&M is on track to potentially be a playoff team. LSU is on track to potentially be a playoff team this year. Missouri, kind of sneaky right now. We talk about how easy their schedule is. That schedule has certainly gotten more difficult as we keep looking at it. Oklahoma, not on Georgia's schedule. Very well could be an SEC playoff team this year. Now, that's, of course, like dismissing the fact that Tennessee also in a good position right now to be a playoff team. Alabama could certainly be a playoff team this year, despite the fact that they lost in week 1. Like, there's certainly some other teams, but there is a world where you enter the college football playoff where all the SEC representatives are teams that you did not play this year.
Yeah, that is something interesting, and you kind of wonder, if that's the case, can you go 10-2? If Alabama ends up being as not good, if Texas is as bad as they look right now, if Tennessee stumbles along the way and all of your wins, your best wins and your toughest opponents, they don't really add up and your SEC strength of schedule diminishes. That is interesting because you look at 10-2 with Alabama not being good and Texas not being good and maybe Tennessee's not good down the road. It could get interesting. I still have confidence that they'll be in if they're 10-2.
What if Gunnar Stockton plays like that every week?
I have a better question. What if that wasn't his ceiling?
Oh, that's a possibility. This guy is getting his number retired for a reason.
If Gunnar Stockton plays like that every weekend for the remainder of the season, that dude will be in New York.
Oh, definitely.
100%. And so at that point, you're probably a top 4 playoff seed. You're playing for an SEC title game again.
Look, I don't know if I have rooted for individual success of a singular Georgia athlete more in my career than I'm about to for Gunnar Stockton. Because I just want to know what it's like. I want to know what it's like when this fan base, who is the best of the best, when y'all actually like your quarterback. All right, and I hope it happens. I hope it happens because I want to see it, man. I want to see what it looks like. I want to see what it looks like when the entire body is behind this dude, and I can feel it. I can feel it in the stadium, and I know that y'all love him. That'll be new. That'll be very, very new to me, and I'm excited to see it.
What if Lawson Lucky is your best blocking tight end?
Plausible. I would say one game overreaction, though.
That is true.
Because Oscar did play well and was a named captain because of what he did against Austin Peay. And then it just didn't. Look, I don't think it was lazy. I don't think it was anything. I just think he got beat on some blocks that made him look bad on Saturday.
Which happens.
Yeah.
That was just a few for thought of like.
The other guys on scholarship too, Kirby.
Well, yeah.
You know?
I get it.
I think that what you've learned about your 2 tight ends right now in Lucky and Delp is there's potential for them to both be playing really good on any given day. They've shown that already. And then also, maybe if one isn't having their best game, the other one can also pick up the slack and they can be great as well.
Hey, what if right tackle continues to be a problem? Like, I know Bo Hughley came in that game and he played great. Lord knows we've watched it. We've talked about it. But he's still not the best run blocking tackle that you have. And in my opinion, that's why Unai got the nod. That's why Ernest Green got the nod, or he got the nod because he's the vet and he gets to play until he says he can't play anymore, is what it seems like. But they put Unai out there because they probably thought Unai was the better run blocker in a game in which they had to run the football. And then it got to a point where he's a turnstile in pass protection to so bad, we've got to go change him out. But what if you struggle to run the ball because the right tackle is not a good run blocker, but we can pass? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, what if it continues to be a thing?
Do you think you become tendencies based on who your right tackle is?
No, I think you have deficiencies based off who your right tackle
Right, but I'm saying like, oh, they've got so-and-so in right now. This is going to be a passing down for them.
No. I'm
Really
saying
rotate them in play by play.
So-and-so's at right tackle right now. They can either run the ball or they can't pass the ball.
So I actually have something along the lines of this in my what ifs, but I put it this way. What if Georgia just continues to rotate guys at right tackle? They treat it like a running back room. We're going to feed the hot hand today. We're going to feel it out. Who's got their best game today? And then by halftime, we know, all right, this is who we're rolling with for the rest of the game because so-and-so hasn't figured it out today. Like,
it's not a bad approach.
It might boil down to that. I don't know. I hope it doesn't.
I just think by the second quarter against Alabama, it's either going to be fixed or Juan Gaston's going to be out there.
Yeah.
That's what I think. But I don't know, man. Like, the weight. Did Kirby give an update on Ernest?
Nothing.
He got a back?
Nothing of substance.
Did he say he's got a back, or what did he say?
Yeah.
What do you think it is?
I don't know.
Because we know he had surgery on his back when he first got to Georgia. We know that. That's in his medical files. My question is this back spasms? Is this nerve flare-ups? Is this just chronic pain?
This could be a Ladd McConkey type injury of 2023.
Nerves?
Maybe. Does anyone remember?
It was nerve flare-ups.
Yeah, that first
Ladd.
like the first 3 or 4 games of the season, like Ladd wasn't out there.
So back tightness could be a million different things, chat. Back tightness could be just, I had surgery, I'm getting a little bit older, maybe I tweaked it in a squat rack. Back spasms, totally different. Nerve pain, nerve damage, totally different. So pinched nerve, like we don't know what it actually is. So that's concerning to say the least. What if Alabama feels confident throwing at you?
I mean,
then you better step up. You better arrive to the challenge.
It's certainly something that you could see taking place given what you put on tape a week and a half ago. But I also think that you're going to be prepared for that.
Did we just have someone super chub something that got retracted?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I didn't even see what the message was.
We got folks trolling, paying to troll. Is that what we got going on?
It was. We did miss a couple earlier.
Yeah, let's hit those right quick. Hey, what if Bama and Auburn are your toughest test on your schedule moving forward?
Makes sense.
I could see it, right?
I could see it, honestly.
Ole Miss down, Texas down.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, guys, I think you can 24-10 Texas at this point.
Mm-hmm. At the way it looks right now, yes, but you play them very late in the season, and
All right, let's get to. We are talking about black uniforms, says KC. Already did it. Not gonna happen. Gavin Biffle says if Gunner goes through the gauntlet and is 11-1 and goes deep into the playoffs, wins the Natty and Heisman, does he go to the league? No, I don't think.
You need more of a sample size. But then again, that would be 15 starts.
I don't know if the NFL ever looks at Gunner like we got to draft him early. We watched Max Duggan damn near win a Heisman and get undrafted.
Yeah. I
think this is Max Duggan.
Yeah, but there's something to be said about wearing the G on your helmet.
You think so? Okay. Look, I don't think there's anything wrong with Max Duggan.
No, and he's
a great college quarterback. I think he threw for 4,000 yards.
Yeah.
Again, these things sound like downgrades, like you're shitting on the kid. I'm not. I just think there's a lot of things that make Gunner a great college quarterback that don't necessarily apply to pro ball. Does that make sense?
Very, very true.
Matthew Joyner says, been watching this network since 2021. Love this show and this community. Also, we need a Kirby playlist reveal. The songs of the day have been elite.
Oh, thank you, Matthew.
It's got 11 or 9 likes.
I don't have a playlist. I literally just picked the song and I'm like, all right, this is the song of the day.
I do think one of my favorite things to do is when we're on road trips and we sync the
start a jam
sesh.
Yeah.
You put me on game almost every time.
I appreciate that, man.
One of the few people I'll allow to get in my car and play music where I'm just like,
it's an honor.
Oh, buddy hopped on one day and put on Lil Yachty or something like that. I'm like,
Lil
gone.
Uzi. I got 2 songs.
Gone immediately.
I will say I do like Lil Uzi.
I got 2 songs.
I respect what he did.
And the first one he loved. He loved the first one. I think I played some T Grizzly song and he loved it. And then I play one Lil Uzi song and he snatches a cord off my phone and tells me I'm not allowed to play music anymore.
That's it.
Not an Uzi fan?
All it took was Lil Uzi.
It's all right.
All the whining SoundCloud rapping I'm just out on.
You missed that boat, huh?
Yeah.
You're too old for that one?
Missed the whole era.
So you don't know the XXL freshman cipher?
Absolutely not.
Oh my, legendary.
Extension, all those guys, no. Did not listen to any of it.
Well, no, XXL freshman cipher was Lil Yachty, Denzel Curry. I'm blanking on the others now.
Nope.
Lil Uzi.
Nope.
21 Savage.
Maybe. I liked his Pink album.
It was a legendary.
Issa album.
It was a legendary moment in music history. You had to be there. All right, I got a question.
What's up?
And I don't want to seem negative when I'm doing this. What if this year's team is more like last year's than we realize? And I say that because there's a lot of differences that we've seen from 2024 roster to 2025. The connection, the team. Kirby Smart has even said that himself. But I don't want to discount the fact that we did still just watch Georgia go out there and get punched in the mouth first and have to come crawling back and find a way to win. What if that is kind of what you're still going to be seeing in 2025?
I was reading the chat. I missed the whole question. Can you respond to him? Can you respond to him? That's on me.
Yes, I can respond.
Please do your job because I'm not doing mine right now.
I think that the only difference would be is a lot of the reasons why you were getting punched in the mouth last year is because you were having some turnover issues on offense, and that was creating some difficult positions for your defense, and it was getting you behind in football games and things like that. I think the difference this year, but I agree with you to an extent as well, because like last year, something that Kirby talked about all the time was that this team is resilient. These guys don't ever back down. They never quit. They are resilient. You see that same trait in these guys. But I think it almost comes from like a different part of them of like, these guys are resilient because they love football and they love Georgia and they love this team. Not that those guys last year didn't love football or love their team or anything like that, but like there's certainly a different vibe between this year and last year between the roster, like in my opinion, just like being around them a little bit and watching them play 3 seasons. But I think there is something to what you're saying of like, there are some similarities for sure.
Chat wants me to elaborate on a tweet I had about the Redcoat band being filled with ball knowers. Don't know if you guys have felt this, but there is not a collection of Georgia-affiliated people, whether it be 200 fans we walk by or whether it be 200 football players that we walk by or 200 coaches. There is not a collective of Georgia-affiliated people that recognize us for our work more than the Redcoat band. Every time I walk by the Redcoat band in the tunnel before they come out for halftime, it is Brooks, we love, ball knowers all over the place, left and right. We love the Redcoat band around here. Absolutely love the Redcoat band.
Big fans.
I hear him practice every day, dude. It's nice.
And they love ball. They love this place. So shout out to the Redcoat band.
Amen.
Shout out to Red.
It's a great way to end the show.
Absolutely. We appreciate you guys for being here. We'll be back tomorrow. Last show, best show. Love you. Bye.